Welcome to Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader Strings of Fate Season 3 Episode 15 The Red Wave. I am AP Gaming Real, and I've been waiting to do this intro for 3 weeks, and it's no longer relevant. You see, we've missed 2 episodes, and I thought, missing the first one, I could move the intro and it would still be relevant. But that's not true. Okay, we're gonna get a James alert here in a second, I think. There it is. Didn't show up for some reason. We can hear it, but we can't see it. That's
It's not as funny as when it used to deafen you, but you know.
yeah, sorry, I fixed that.
Yeah, I still give me my little pleasures.
The new version of OBS has apparently broken everything, and you have to update if you want to keep your linked Twitch account. So that's where we're at. You have to intentionally take a buggy, shitty mess. Where was I? Intro. First week I thought we could get away with it, but then we missed it. And I was like, second week it's delayed. It's not going to be as funny or as relevant, but I'll try it. But here we are in the third week. So audience, I have to rely on you with this outdated intro. It's Grimdark James's birthday, and I wasn't able to think of a gift for him, and I want to crowdsource it to you all. Now, of course, that intro was written, again, 3 weeks ago when it actually was James's birthday, and I still haven't thought of a gift for him, because as far as I could tell, he's the Shadow Minister of Australia, and he can get himself anything he needs to.
Yeah, I'm the person that I'm hard to buy for because I buy everything I want myself.
Warhammer minis. See, I'd have to ask James his address in order to do that, friends, and that is considered rude among us internet living folk.
He lives on 123 Yorkie's Knob.
I don't get the reference. Anyway, in all seriousness, audience, if you do think of something you think might make James's day, that day being his birthday, which again was over 3 weeks ago, let me know.
That was less than 3 weeks ago.
Is it? Okay. There was a whole routine where I was gonna give Spoon and Pondo lines. All right, it was scripted, but I've had to throw it out. It's no longer topically relevant.
It'll come around next year.
Yeah, but this script will not. All right, so remember, did I complain about the new OBS to you guys, audience? I don't remember. OBS crashed because it's a buggy. Oh, I did complain about it to you. All right. It's a buggy, shitty mess, and it just crashed for no apparent reason.
Well,
I expect
it probably crashed because you have 9,000 photos on rotate in there still.
That's on a whole other scene. What are you worried about? That has worked for years with no problem.
Is there no rollback functionality?
No, that is not true. That is not true, because I remember when we were doing, I forget which game it was, but you were like, man, every time I load the
yes, Dave,
the fan
that was
art,
years ago. That was over 2 years ago the last time it happened. Time keeps on slipping, Dave, into the future. And you know the absolute worst part about this is that I'm gonna have to edit the 2 parts of the video together, so people didn't miss my James birthday rant in the first.
First 10. I love that you had to explain how bad the joke was. And you had to explain that it was intentionally not bad. And then you killed all the proceedings following that by explaining all of that.
So much salt today, Arthur. What's going on?
I had tater tots before coming on, you know.
That should be good.
Well, they were loaded. They're called mega tater tots, and they're loaded with
you ate a potato.
It's like bacon and some other things, and then you dip it in ranch. And I'm just not into it. Dipping things in ranch is weird.
Oh, good.
It's like this new fad with calling food deconstructed when it's actually just not prepared.
Yeah.
James, deconstructed food has been around for like 30, 40 years.
No, but it's popular right now. It's in at the moment.
Okay. I keep getting these ads for this thing called Depop, and they're like, it tells me what's trendy so I can buy it, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck what's trendy. I'm still not gonna buy it.
You would install the app and it would tell you black shirts are
Yeah.
trendy.
Oh, it's capable of predicting my trends. Well, now I'm way more interested. There's
It's
a
literally
sale
just
on
Facebook
black
ads.
shirts, huh?
Yeah.
With or without pockets.
Have you tried the V-neck variety? Come on, it's good shit.
Here's what I have to say, folks. I've played a lot of Warhammer 40K with some or all members of this group over the years. I don't know a lot about Warhammer Fantasy. The Warhammer 1 and 2 are all right, but they don't really have a lot of lore going on with them. After playing the Warhammer RPG with Spoon and James, and then Warhammer 3, I actually think Warhammer Fantasy is kind of cool now. It's all right. It's cool.
It's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's one of my favorite.
It's nice that there's
settings.
hope. The Warhammer 40K is literally just like, make fun of us. I dare you. Make fun of us. We have no hope. We've sucked the fun out of everything. Oh,
The problem
Tau,
that I have
we don't
with-
like them. You know why? Because they're fun.
Yeah, the problem I have with the Warhammer like fantasy and 40K stuff in mixed media, right, is that they always do a very terrible job at like bringing new people into the medium. Like anytime you play like a Space Marine game or a 40K game as someone who doesn't understand that stuff, you're just like, I just don't get it. Like I just don't get it. And then like, you know, they recently released that it's the same problem with Pathfinder as well. Like when they do like mixed media shit for Pathfinder, you're just like, what? I don't understand any of this shit that's happening right now.
No,
like,
the problem is that Pathfinder 2nd Edition is an incomprehensible mess.
the only good Pathfinder thing that ever happened was they did an adventure card game, and that thing was actually pretty good, but only because the game was fun, not because any of the lore made sense to anyone playing.
All the lore was
on
just
the-
lore from their adventure pass already.
Yeah.
On the subject of Warhammer Fantasy, yesterday I noticed I'm on like an Australian Warhammer buy swap sell page on Facebook, and there was a woman who was selling off her ex's stuff following some sort of breakup, you know, and she'd put up, he had a still sealed, like shrink wrapped in box Warhammer Fantasy 2nd Edition box set and the Tome of Magic box set that went with it, and she put it up for like 70 Australian dollars, which was like $50 US. It was like, you know, gone within a minute, but it's like that'd be worth a lot more than that.
I mean, she just needs it out of her life, you know.
Yeah.
What is she gonna do with it? Use it for
Exactly.
warmth in the Australian snow? All right, let's do some intros. Dave, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Dave. I am learning the ins and out of a new life. It basically means no sleep, but I'm used to that. Like, you know, I have operated most of my adult life on very little sleep, so I'm okay with it. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of work stuff, I don't know. I mean, I'm doing pretty good stuff. Like we had this really monumental task of taking a lot of 2D product and turning it into 3D product, and it's turned out way better than I expected. Like really, really good. I think it's mostly just like the modelers that we're working with, but like it's turned out to be like quite an amazing product, and I'm very happy with it. So I don't know. I mean, outside of that, like, you know, living next to the beginnings of the end right now is kind of an interesting problem to deal with, but as far as I can tell, we're pretty safe over here. So I don't know how much I can say without, you know, Arthur's VODs being, you know, shot. But yeah, but you know, it's very strange to be right next to it, I would say. Anyway, yeah. Babies in war. I don't know.
Well, speaking of babies and war, let's talk to Pondo.
Hi, I have a baby, and it's been an interesting couple of weeks. Pretty much, not this week, but the week before, I was pretty much at the hospital the entire week. So that was interesting. Baby was sick. She's better now. I don't know if we had a show since I also had to leave early the other time. No, I don't think we had.
Yeah, that was the last. That was
Last time play. You had to go, and Dave had to go, and then that was.
Yeah. That
I had
was
to
a
go
crappy
deal
night.
with poop. It was a different story. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Very
it's been a crazy couple weeks for me. But recently I did get some more stuff to do, some hobby stuff. I ordered the Storm Talon or Stormhawk kit that I'm going to do something with, and I'm trying to find some Redemptor kits somewhere. The only place I've been able to find is either eBay or Walmart.
Do you
ironically
need the whole thing or just bits?
I want to get the whole kit.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I've been looking into. As I'm going to eventually start actually getting back to hobby stuff again now that things have kind of started to calm down.
It's a shame they retired the easy to build kit of that, because that was nice and cheap and good quality. But they retired it in favor of the full cycle one.
I was gonna say it's probably why they retired it, is they weren't making any money off of it.
I'm pretty sure they probably were, because it's not like they were able to mass produce it and people bought it because it was so cheap. So it's kind of I was thinking about getting those, but yeah, they don't have many, they don't make them anymore, and B, I think pretty much everybody that wanted them got it.
Yeah, and the meta is for it's the complete opposite weapon selection of what's in the meta right now. Every selection is the opposite.
Yeah, you want the plasma and because I think it came with like the onslaught, and then
it came with the big Gatling cannon, and it came with the frag launchers and the flamer.
Yeah, and they want the plasma, the small chain
Storm
gun.
bolters, and the small chain gun. Yeah.
I don't know if they're taking the missile on top, but yeah, there's that too. The easy kit one didn't come with that.
No, it didn't have the Icarus watcher.
But yeah, no. It's been it for me as far as my weeks go. It's been baby watching and getting stuff cleaned up and ready to start on stuff. Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank for segue, Spoon. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to do one.
Speaking of Spoon.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, Spoon. So let's see. This week, I've been playing a lot of a early access indie game called Nebulous Fleet Command. It's been super interesting. It's a right now what they've got available is it's a in-depth fleet battle, like fleet control game. My thunder's just gone now. So
it makes me feel like you're commanding a nebulous fleet. Like, how many ships have we got? Oh, an amount,
greater than 2, less than 7.
All right, let me ask you this question, Spoon. Could we use the game engine to recreate a Ace Combat style anime battle where somebody's like, incoming missiles, they're hot, Fox 2.
No, but
you can't just like scream countermeasures.
I mean, you can scream countermeasures and shoot out chaff and
But how do you countermeasure against missiles that just suddenly like go in like a massive, random order when they come out like an anime?
So
that's
like
not
actually,
that's not an anime thing. That's actually how missiles are designed to work.
And like that's how. So I was watching some YouTube the other day of a big battle, and this guy had these missile destroyers that just had nothing but missile launchers, and like that's kind of how it worked when he fired them all. It was just like, and it was. I mean, 90% of them missed. But
how close is it to like Homeworld or something like that?
Pretty close. I would say it's not quite as the same numbers scale, where it's like, so depending on the amount of points you play, most people are playing like 3,000 point battles. You'll have like one big ship and a couple of escorts, whereas like Homeworld was like you had massive fleets, right?
So less RTS and more like
squad command. Yeah, like
there is some great 40k mods for Homeworld and Star Wars mods too for Homeworld.
And what the other media that I compare it most to is like space battles in the Expanse, where it's
I tried to watch the Expanse because I have suddenly a lot of time to watch things. I don't understand the hype. Like I don't.
Did you? How far did you make it into the first?
Like
first
3
season?
episodes into the first season.
Okay,
Wow,
so
okay,
it's episode 4 is the one that, because that's the Battle of the Donager. Like that's once you hit episode 4, like that's where, at least for me, that's where it hooked me. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Because it just looked like a police procedural in space. Like I was like, yeah, that's not for me.
It changes very quickly after that.
Yeah, the first season is different from the rest.
Yeah. Well, my recommendation to you then, Dave, is watch episode 4, and if you're still not like, if that doesn't get you, just don't worry about it then. But the Battle of the Donager is where I think most people were like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty good.
And I mean, like, yeah, go on, sorry.
Listen, Dave, it's really rare for a series to become more popular over time. The only other series I know of that's true of is NCIS. Most shows achieve peak popularity in season 1 and then slowly go downhill.
I think Supernatural did that as well. Like,
oh my god! Listen, we're not going to spend we're not going to spend an hour talking about Supernatural.
Anyway, I just wanted to bring up. I recently watched a show called "We Are All Dead." It's like a Korean
zombie show. Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. It is so good. It is so goddamn good.
I'm going to be the standout here and say I haven't watched any of these Korean things that have been really popular lately. Parasite.
I mean, you could Squid Game is like whatever, but like this one is just like.
Are you sure? Because Squid Game was like a solid 75% of the population of South Korea watched it. That's a lot of fucking people.
Like, okay, but if you've ever seen any anime, you'll just get it. Like you'll understand completely, and you'll know every twist that comes into that thing. So.
Yeah, Dave, I've seen a few anime in my time.
Exactly. But
I've watched a few animes.
But this zombie one was just like, I was just like, just struggling to stay awake. So I started watching this thing, and it was just so fucking captivating. There's 12 episodes, and every single one is like the length of a movie. It's like, it's so goddamn good. I highly recommend on Netflix. Go watch it. It's really good.
And it's called what again?
We Are All Dead, I think it's called. Yeah.
Speaking of TV, I'm a little bit late, but I finished Peacemaker. It was pretty good. Overall, as a show, yeah, it's on HBO.
That's the one. That's the one with John Cena, right?
Season. Yes, it is the one with John Cena.
Yeah, so it was. Overall, I'd give it like a solid B, like B plus maybe, as a show.
You said it was HBO?
Yep.
Oh fuck! I can't watch that here.
Yeah, HBO isn't in Australia, so I can't see it.
I
wish I couldn't see it.
Yeah, but and then just been playing some Warhammer 3. We either single player with my Demons of Chaos campaign. Or with AP and James.
I'm really excited to do something around in Kislev next weekend.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yep.
Are you
AP.
joining us for the Thursday night game, Spoon and James?
Yeah, so I mean, I said I can't commit to every single week, but I'm
Right.
trying to do most weeks. Yeah.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody can commit to every week. We'll
Yeah.
just have to
Yeah,
play it by ear.
I would love to hop in where I can, but I just like
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to commit to.
Well then,
Any
James,
real
what
amount of
faction
time,
were you
so.
thinking of?
So I was only reason to answer the question. I wanted to try one of the Chaos factions, but I thought I would try a couple. Like I'm interested in 3 of the Chaos factions, but I wanted to just quickly sort of try them out in single player mode a little bit first to get a feel for like what I'll be able to play best as to contribute to the group's successes.
Nurgle is real slow to start with and then become an incredible powerhouse over time. And Slaanesh is easily the weakest faction in the whole game.
Okay.
By far.
Arthur, I had a question for you because
Yes.
you mentioned something on your Discord about
Yes.
Elden Ring. Did you actually play it, or were you
No.
making a joke?
I will never play Elden Ring.
Okay. And then,
I know that you
mean-
like Dark Souls, Bloodborne style games. I have
yeah.
received no joy from playing them. I played the
Okay.
Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise, and I was like, wow, this is suffering.
I mean, that game
this.
was designed for suffering, I think.
This is
Like,
awful.
both in
I mean, but you enjoyed
the-
Jedi Fallen Order. Didn't Jedi Fallen Order have like some Souls-esque elements to
It's
it?
more Castlevania, really.
No, I would say it's there's a lot of Souls elements in there too, but
Well, let's see.
Uh,
Was everyone a complete asshole, and did all hope get sucked out of life? No, it's not a Souls game. Got it.
well, I mean, just mechanics wise, stamina, checkpoints with resetting enemies, currency tied to death.
Yeah,
All
but I mean,
I'm hearing is
those are
Castlevania.
Let's say those elements were not introduced by the Souls games. Those have been
Yeah,
around
it's a
for
Castlevania
long
style
time.
game.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
I'm sorry, Dave. I guess I'm just maidenless.
Jesus.
L plus ratio plus maidenless.
Yeah, just what's the meme? Touch grass or something like that.
Yeah, go touch some
Touch
grass.
grace.
Yeah. I can't unsee that, by the way. Like, every time that pops up, I just.
If you have no
but anyway,
idea what we're talking about, friends, you're better off. It's just a bunch of Elden Ring memes.
Yeah. Honestly, that game is very surprising. Like, the formula for Dark Souls works pretty well in open world stuff, but man, like, I there is way too much game there now. You know, like it's like. So instead of it playing like an open world game, it just plays like a really big Dark Souls game, if that makes sense. Like, so one of the things about Dark Souls is hunting down your equipment and stuff like that in order to like build your character so that you can progress through the challenges. And just imagine that, like, it previously used to be in like a smaller scale. Like, you'd be like, okay, I know exactly where I need to go to get the stuff I need to get after a while. But this one, it's like, yeah, now you need to literally get on a horse and travel vast distances in order to get the stuff you need. It works, but at the same time, it's just like, you know, it's more of a weird refinement of stuff. But they've also removed a lot of like really interesting elements from the systems as well, like covenants and other things like that. They don't have it anymore, but. Yeah.
I will say that the Elden Ring is the closest I've come to considering purchasing a Souls game. Where I was like, oh, this looks really interesting. I might buy this. And then it came out and I'm like, all right, well, we'll see. I'll watch a couple streams and see how it goes and see what it's like. So
like if you're on the fence, just go play Fallen Order. Like just play Fallen Order. It's like a much more safer experience with in that style. So
I accidentally bought a Dark Souls game once. A friend of mine had worked on the game Darksiders 2, and I thought I'd buy the game to help him out, but I bought the wrong game on Steam and bought Dark Souls 2 instead.
Nice. Because the thing is, like, you either understand the systems or you struggle against the systems until you understand them. Like, it took me 30 hours in Dark Souls 1 to just have it click for me. So, like, I don't... Yeah, it's like... It's a weird introduction because they just kind of like... They do that open world thing where they're just like, okay, go where you want to go. And you're just like... The first
Well,
enemy you
but
meet.
everywhere I go, I die.
Yeah, the very first enemy you meet is like quite possibly one of the toughest enemies in the entire game. Like, it's just I don't know why they do it. It's like user flow is important, but also like, is it like tradition? Does the player have to feel the instant wall? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think they do it for new players to kind of set expectations that you will die.
so there's a terminology that's used in the mechanics called a skill check, where like
None of us
know-
have ever heard of this before. Tell us more.
so the idea is that you play until you reach the wall, which is the skill check, right? And in Dark Souls 1, that was like a demon that had a very small encounter room that had two dogs that would constantly attack you all the time. And if you could get past that, then the rest of the game is easy because you've learned all the mechanics you need to know in order to like progress through the game. But if you don't know the mechanics by the time you get to that point, you'll hate the game, right? And you'll leave it and you'll never play it again. And this game is constantly filled with those sorts of checks. So I'm not sure why they did that, but
I want to jump back to something James said about owning a Dark Souls game. You might think someone like me who said they'll never play a Dark Souls game wouldn't own a Dark Souls game. Well, it turns out that, like James, I own Darksiders. But through the power of Steam keys, I also own Dark Souls 3, The Long Dark, which is nothing like those, and Darkest Dungeon, which is kind of like Dark Souls.
no, it's not.
It is a game bereft of hope where you endlessly travel into a dungeon, suffering and dying, screaming in agony.
It also
I mean-
has one of the best narrators of all time. Like,
Wayne Jude? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
And there's been some pretty good narrators in video game history, though.
yeah, it's true. But I mean, Darkest
Name
Dungeon
one that
is
isn't
way
Nolan
up
North.
The guy from Bastion was pretty good.
Okay, all right. I'll
Yeah,
buy
yeah,
that.
yeah.
He was pretty good. The Kid.
Yeah, and then there's also the Stanley Parable narrator as well. It was really good too.
I mean, something had to carry that game. Yeah, you're right. There had
If
to
you
be
can call,
something of
if you
value.
can call it a game.
It was a thought experiment about
Yeah.
punishing the user.
Also, a
there's
lot
a-
of 40K games had a lot of good narrators.
No, I think the Warhammer 40K games have a lot of vaguely British narrators who are good
I
at
guess that's
sounding
true.
like, "That's right, let's all walk
Well,
together."
Like I said last week, Andy Serkis has joined that particular
My God.
that what do you call it?
I don't use this very often, but I'm PogChamp when Andy
Alumni.
Serkis is like, "I'm gonna do something," because if life has proven anything, the man played both Gollum and Ulysses Claw and managed to steal best performing. He should have been the center point of both of those movies. That's all I'm saying. We should just have a Gollum movie and get a Claw standalone where he's like writing rap and committing really petty art theft crimes and.
oh my god.
I did end up finishing Vox Machina. Machina?
Oh,
Machina.
Legend of Vox Machina.
That's right, voice of the machine.
Machina.
What'd you think?
I mean, it's weird. It doesn't have an ending.
That's because there's a second season.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but like most seasons, they have like stay tuned for the next thing or whatever. Like, like this one is just like, and then they fuck off. Like,
That is exactly how the Critical Role season 1 arcs went. Matt was just like, "Okay, it's time to do somebody else's tragic backstory now.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Let's explore their
that's-
trauma and dragons."
So, but the thing is, it's not a tabletop role playing game. It's a fucking animated TV show now.
Of a
Like, you
tabletop
need to-
role playing game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know that unless you like knew that, right? Like,
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about the legendarily amazing Chronicles of the Heroic Knight. which
I
was
don't
an
know what that
anime that was a D&D campaign that got made into an anime.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, well, I've talked about it fairly often, but okay.
Really? I don't remember that at all.
Well, but
It's called Record of Lodoss War and Record of Lodoss War Chronicles of the Heroic Knight. They were incredibly famous Japanese actual plays in the 80s of D&D that ended up spawning a Record of Lodoss War system because in Japan you could only get D6s. So they were everything in D&D moved to D20s all the time, and they were just like, well, if it's going to get popular here, we're going to have to make our own system. You know what's popular? That anime, Record of Lodoss War, that we made. Let's make a tabletop RPG based off of it. Anyway.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, again, unless you know where the source material comes from,
All right.
which most people who have Amazon Prime probably wouldn't, right? Because they,
Unless they look in the Prime
come off-
Video description of
they
the
come
series
off-
and every episode.
But no one does that. I mean,
I
look at the
always
cast
do,
stuff.
and I read the extras when I'm watching something like Burn Notice so that I can know about all the background stuff that went into every episode. How
So you'll have
dare
these
you?
incredible, interesting factoids for the intros on your tabletop RPG shows.
Exactly.
Like, but you know, like imagine someone who came off Invincible, right?
Mhm.
And then they get recommended Vox Mechanica or whatever the fuck it's called, and they're just
Still
like,
Vox
cool,
Machina.
whatever. And they watch it and they're just like, okay, and then that's it. Like, you know, because that's what it felt like to me. Because I watched it and I was like, okay, cool.
Well, so they do put like the stinger at the end of the show basically, rather than like waiting for the credits to be over and then being like, oh, and now the dragons are attacking Amon.
Oh, is that going to be the second
that's
season?
right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chroma Conclave is the second season.
Jesus. They love suffering, I guess. They're not going to do any of the happy stuff at any point? Holy shit.
How much animation budget do you think they have?
Yeah, right. Yeah, they got
$22 million. So
I would say I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure
Amazon
it's,
shelled out a lot for it.
yeah, it's more than pretty much any modern anime that isn't a movies. So
They shelled out a lot of Amazon shelled out a lot of money, and they made like what, 9 million off the Kickstarter, wasn't it? Or
I think it was
Yeah.
like 11.
it was 11?
It was 11.
that-
It was
It was a
record-setting.
lot. It was a lot of.
Yeah.
it was
I
a
will
lot.
say that show had a lot of secondary animation in it, which, you know, makes sense considering if that's the budget that they're working with. Like, they had a lot of like moving panels and stuff like that. Like, it didn't look like there was any shortcuts in there, except for like a couple of 3D elements, which I thought was a little strange, but like, whatever.
no, they passed the anime movie test, which is do the characters have shadows? Yeah, if yes, this is an anime movie, not an anime series. The animators are being paid enough money that everyone has shadows.
So I noticed this week
Just like a
that
circle, yeah.
you know Viva the Dirt League, VLDL on YouTube.
Yeah,
That they've just launched a Kickstarter.
is
Because
it
they
for
wanna,
Epic NPC Man?
well, it's it's not. It's for their whole studio, because they've gone from a group which is basically, you know, a group of friends who utilize a local what do you call those, like a not a Renaissance village, like a little village where people live in the olden ways for the purposes of like
Like a reenactment.
high school kids learning what it was like, and that's what they use for Epic NPC Man. One of them's got like a friend at a computer shop. They use a computer shop for their Playtech videos, and now they've just announced their Kickstarter, where their plan is to build a purpose-built multi-soundstage studio with like 40 staff. It's like, you know, editors, marketing, etc. You know, it's really. I just felt like there must be a middle ground between, you know, a bunch of mates and a video camera, you know, in location sets, to, you know, a full production studio.
Mm-hmm.
If they get enough money, great. But
Do you guys
It's
have
kinda-
Ren fairs?
yeah, I mean, there's like in
I always
Sydney.
thought that was a thoroughly American thing.
No, so I mean, I've told the story before that there's an event here in Sydney every year called Winterfest, and they've got to go and get the laws gazetted to allow jousting, because jousting is banned in Australia, but they get an exemption once a year for.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny too, because in Poland they don't have fairs, they literally have a sport where they beat each other up in knight armor and stuff like that. Like, but they just do all the extra trimmings around it, but it's an actual sport here.
Well, that was,
People beating the shit out of each other, yeah. With like proper like metal swords and shit like that too.
When did they film A Knight's Tale? The Heath Ledger movie A Knight's Tale was filmed in Eastern Europe. I'm not sure exactly where, but like there were dudes who did that as like extras in the movie, like doing the jousting and the sword fighting and stuff. And it was just something that I saw in the extras of like the DVD commentary or whatever.
On the Amazon Prime Facts, yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. But I was gonna say I miss like, you know, how do you remember DVD menus and shit like that when they had like
yes
all that extra shit that you could do in the DVD and stuff like that? And
or
you know
could
you
play
got a really good
Liar's
DVD
Dice against the evil squid captain in the Pirates of the Caribbean DVDs.
Yeah, you know you got a good DVD when there was like all those extra shit in there. But like, when's the streaming service gonna do that? You know, when can I play Mastermind on Amazon Prime?
All right, Spoon. It's technically your outro. You got anything else?
No, that was it.
Right. James, let's hop over to you. All I can think of now is kangaroo jousting. I assume that's where you try to get two people on kangaroos to joust at each other, but the roos beat you up instead.
It'd be emu jousting, like joust.
Ostrich.
You know? Emu, ostrich
are in Africa.
I mean, you could take an ostrich anywhere.
Anyway,
I've seen ostriches in Philadelphia. Come on, Pondo. I'm pretty sure they could survive in Australia.
So,
They're mean enough that they could displace some local species.
Naturally in Australia. How about that?
Okay, all right. I don't know if you know this, but there are plenty of non-natural species in Australia, starting with humans.
well, look, I mean,
You guys got cane toads?
We have tumbleweed, which isn't native to America, despite the fact that it's associated with every Western movie.
and the emus beat the humans in a war in Australia, so I don't know how the ostriches would do against the emus. So.
Oh yeah, they're making a movie about that now. Oh,
I'm pretty sure they
can't wait
couldn't
for
win
that.
now that we have cruise missiles. But
Wait.
okay.
that was.
All I know was that when I was a child, I used to go to like this little sort of park where you could go and feed emus and kangaroos, and they give you this brown paper bag filled with like seeds. The idea was you take it out and offer it to the bird, and the birds would work this out. So as soon as people walked up with the bags of seeds, they peck out the bottom of the bag, so all the seeds would spill onto the ground. So anyway,
Animals, they're so smart.
It's been an interesting few weeks for me, for sure. Like the big thing this week is Monday, I got to work and found out that the business I work for has been sold. The business I run has been sold to a very large tech concern in Australia for $20 million. And so it's been a lot of meetings this week to facilitate that. I don't know what that will mean for me yet in the long run, given that often when you have an acquisition, it doesn't bode well in long term for the senior leadership of the old company. But we'll see. You know, it's definitely the company which has bought us has no prior experience in our industry, and so they're relying upon myself and my team for our years of experience in the industry. So. But right now it's just a lot of meetings, a lot of phone calls, a lot of late night stuff, and then communicating with the market and communicating with shareholders. So it's just been hectic, and will continue to be hectic for the next several weeks. But it has not waylaid my plans to go to Vegas and then also spend some time in the US for work. Without going to Vegas for work, so it means I can still travel. Other than that, I got the new the Old Republic expansion like 2 weeks ago when it came out. This was the one that was delayed from like December until the middle of February, and I loaded up and I finished it in 3 hours. Like that was all the new content. Has Arthur frozen for anybody else?
Yeah, he's back now.
Okay, cool. No worries. Yeah. Okay. You're frozen for me. And
You sure? Maybe I just wasn't moving. That happens
No,
sometimes.
no,
you were frozen.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't smile for that long, Arthur. I can say now.
Wow. Look at this. Look at this, guys. The people out here, they're just questioning my ability to smile.
Yeah, so that was like over really, really quickly. And then I, after playing some Divinity Original Sin 2 with Arthur, I also loaded up Baldur's Gate 3 and played some of that, and I was really enjoying that now. And then a new patch came out, and I found out that you cannot load your saves from a previous patch. You got to restart the game every time a new patch comes out. So yeah, it's back to ignored early access for me. Although it's one of those games I suspect will never come out of early access. Because Larian charged full price up front, and while they add to it, the whole idea that each patch effectively breaks the old stuff is a bit frustrating. And then on top of that, I got to play some 40K yesterday. Some friends came over, and I got the Space Wolves out again. Had an extremely clear victory against Drakari. First off, that particular player decided to try what's called a real space raid, which allows you to take the 3 different Drakari factions, so the witch cults, the cabals, and the covens, all in a single detachment. But it's got a very high unit tax, so you have to include a homunculus, an archon, a succubus, rax, witches, and Cabalite warriors before you include anything else. So yeah, that obviously at the scale of game we were playing, he just didn't have the units to behave strategically, so I absolutely walked over him. And then I played a second game against Custodes, where we ended the game at a 0-all draw, because we both just completely ignored the objective and tried to gun each other or hack each other off the board, hoping that we'd have one turn left over after the opponent was tabled to actually score some points. And although I tabled him in the last turn and couldn't actually score any points. So I do feel that I felt good about the game because I felt I had the better tactics. He had better rolling, like his rolling compensated for my tactical acumen. So it felt like a victory, even though it was on paper a draw. But I know that was good to play. So I've just finished recording another video for my YouTube channel about the Crusade, which I will put up after this episode, so that you're not after this show is finished, so you're not tempted to leave the show to go and watch my latest video. You know who you are. That's probably it. I mean, that's really obviously work's been a big thing, and then it's just lots of minor gaming. I mean, I've everything's pushing along with the renovations to my house. I don't yet know if that'll have any impact on my availability for streaming once we start tearing out the back of our house. Like, it won't actually affect this room, but it will affect like the wall, like a meter from where I sit right now. That's where the extension will be happening. So, it could be noisy, it could be electrical problems. I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. But it probably won't start for another 2 or so months by the time we get everything approved by the local city council and all the architectural stuff done and signed off.
You know that we play everything by ear, and sometimes months go by without episodes on shows like these.
Yeah, I mean, I know your litmus test for canceling a show is 3 missed episodes, so I get nervous when we
1 month. Yeah, but I mean, we're close to the end of this series. Yeah. It's pretty unlikely I'm going to cancel it. Although it would be suffering to like wait an entire calendar year for the next episode, and then we sit down and we're all just like, "What were we doing?"
James,
Pat just asked about my MVP. Definitely this guy. He has so far 8 games, 10 kills, 31 XP. The Venerable Dreadnought is absolutely insane. With a 4+ invulnerable. Reduce all damage by 1, and 6+ feel no pain.
Yeah, you got a name for him? Bastapol, perhaps, or
Ancient Arnkel was his name. So
they're really nice if you also have a Master of the Forge behind them too.
So I felt really bad for my opponent yesterday with the Custodes, because he has bought from Forge World a Telemon Heavy Dreadnought, which is like twice the size of a regular Dreadnought. and he's put it all together. He's based it nicely. He's got like a cork base. He's undercut. He hasn't finished painting it yet. But yesterday was the first game he was playing it. We're playing 50 power level. It's 14 power level on its own, same as a land raider. You put it on the table. I got first turn, charged with my dreadnought, and capped it and cut it down in one turn. He didn't get to use it at all. It fired Overwatch and missed everything. That was it.
Love it.
Yeah, especially because it's a resin model. You got to glue it together with super glue. You can't use plastic glue, and until they're well put together, they fall apart easily. So you're spending like when I was playing the first game versus Zakari, he was there fastidiously trying to get this thing to stay together and re-gluing the parts of it, and then got on the board, and then turn one gone. So,
oh man,
yeah. So that's it. That's me. That's
I can't put the time in right now because I have to merge the videos together.
Okay, you have to do some mathematics later on to work out.
True. But feel free to start whenever you're ready,
Okay, no worries. All right.
Maybe some vocal warm-ups first. We should la li lule low.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather,
Irish washerwoman.
Have I told you the rhubarb cantaloupe melon thing at all?
No, but I bet it's gonna be good.
When I used to do extra work for film, they always told us if as an extra you're in the background having a conversation, you're just supposed to say some combination of the words rhubarb, cantaloupe, and melon. So you might rhubarb, cantaloupe, melon, rhubarb, cantaloupe. And the idea being that it would give all the genuflections of regular speech, but if the extras were actually talking about actual conversations in the background and they were interesting stories, you'd have the other extras being like, oh, really? Okay, like getting into the conversation, and the audience might wonder, I wonder what those people in the background are talking about. So you have to just basically speak gibberish in order to be an extra.
You're like Sims in the background.
Oh, God.
All right. Previously on Rogue Trader Strings of Fate, the Hand of Calixis arrives in the Regina system, discovering a hulked vessel close to the remains of Regina 4. The vessel turns out to be the Faith in Fact, a transport belonging to the explorator fleet KX-557.V. Landing at the colony, the crew finds that substantial updates have been done to landfall, including the installation of defensive weapons apparently responsible for the damage to the Faith in Fact. The chief administrator of the colony, Maxillan Morn, shows the crew what his people have discovered in the ruins of the Last Scion's lair, a fully operational standard template constructor. Concerned about what to do with their discovery, the group goes to meet with the captured representative of the explorator fleet. Thought for the day, it is better to self-destruct than to acquiesce. All right. Anybody that will fit with your recollection from several weeks ago that you were going to go and interview this or talk to this person they'd captured?
That's a very lenient description of sending a psyker in to ask some questions. But yeah, sure.
No problem. Okay, all good.
I thought the psyker wasn't going to ask questions. He was going to go and probe his mind.
I decided on another course of action. I think I'm just going to dominate him so that he'll tell us what we need to know with context.
Okay. So you're not going to rip the information out of his mind. You're just going to compress his mind into a small box until he tells you what he wants.
Okay, that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Okay.
James, maybe let me. If you don't have anything else, I have an establishing shot.
Oh, please do.
We got that typical perp room, at like a police station. The bar and the prisoner's handcuffed to him, but this guy's wearing like the red robes of his station. For some reason, the caps at the end of that bar on the table have skulls on them. We hear like what are they called? The cherubs, the servo skulls, like floats by outside. As the door opens, we see the rest of the party shuffle into the mirrored interrogation part. As Androchiron just enters and Jedi mind tricks this guy as he walks in to dominate him. Just like 0 to 100 instantly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So this,
is there anything you want to
guy,
add to that before I start making some dangerous ass rolls?
So this guy looks like your typical tech priest, although probably not quite as augmented to some you've seen. He still has multiple fleshy parts. Although, when you like first see him, he appears. You can get that view of someone where they're clearly distracted by something, like their mind is clearly somewhere else. So like their eyes are open, but they're obviously not focused on what's in front of them. He has that sort of that style about him where he seems like his mind is elsewhere at the moment.
Yeah, so Androchiron would have prepared himself before entering the room by invocating. Yeah.
So Morn has told you, by the way, this guy's name apparently is Asmodeus Rodal.
Asmodeus, that sounds bad. All right, Asmodeus Rodal. It's not going to matter. We won't need to use the name addressing him. All right, I'm just going to unfettered hit him with a 8 psi rating. Dominate.
It's going full court press immediately.
So it's a opposed willpower test, and I get a plus 40 to this.
Okay. So, all right.
For the folks at home, that's 7 degrees of success.
And I rolled
shit. All right. Now, since I'm doing it unfettered, I think I also need to make a... what the fuck happened here? Uh-oh. Oh, I know what happened here. It's on the wrong... Is this right? Did this work?
It's very small.
No, that's correct now. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
The screen. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
The monitors didn't look correctly. Anyway,
I don't watch the stream.
How do I focus? How do I do the psychic phenomena test? There we go. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's a D100.
It's actually, for me, it's 3d10, and I get to pick which 2 I want to keep because I'm a Astropath Transcendent.
I think the way you normally work is you roll a D100, then you roll a D10, and you can supplant that D10 for either of the other 2 dice. Because you can't construct the order of the dice as such, so to speak.
That sounds right to me. All right.
Yeah. So roll a D100, then roll a D10.
That's horrible. We absolutely.
So let me ask you a question today, brother. So with your Astropath thing, is it for perils or for psychic phenomena? Because they're 2 different roles.
I don't know.
Okay, let me just check.
So I'm doing it unfettered, right? So we start there. I think
you do a
you
psychic
start with the
first.
phenomena, and then the bottom of the phenomena chart is perils.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
Well, that's not great.
No, I mean I'm going to swap the 9 for the 3.
Yeah, but I need to make sure you can do that. Sorry, that's with right of sanctioning, isn't it?
Yes,
that applies to. Okay, so let's check. I think the right of sanctioning applies to the perils roll. We'll just double check. Showing in the book. Right of sanctioning. Oh, Jesus, like another great. So organized.
Oh, it's on page 158. It's
okay.
Astropaths in the protection of soul binding. Rolls an additional D10 while rolling on. Okay, so it's on perils of the war. All right.
Okay, so you have triggered perils because you rolled over 75. So now you do the D100 roll for perils.
Can I fate roll this?
No, it's not a skill check, or it's not a skill. Right. It's not a peril.
Well, oh my god! If this is 100 and Androchiron just deletes himself from existence.
Okay, so now you roll. Now I guess you can swap out the 3.
I already have the D10 on there, so I'll take a 37. I think.
I'll tell you what the options are, because not all. You can't assume with this one that low is necessarily good. So give me 1 second. I'll tell you what it is.
So have we been doing the psychic powers all wrong? Is that supposed to blow
this is the first time I've tried this.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good, James. I'll take chronological incontinence over summoning a
Dark
fucking
summoning.
demon, which are my other two options.
Oh man, no, and it's great because it summons existence.
A
within
warp
3D
predator?
3D
That sounds
10
bad.
meters. So you summon it inside the viewing room with the
Yeah,
rest.
so
of them.
yeah, okay, yeah. So it would be dark summoning either way, or
No, I just
chronically
disappear
incontinence,
for
okay.
1d10
No,
rounds.
okay, so it's a minute narrative time. So I guess for the other guys, Androchiron walks in, channels power, and then suddenly like bamfs out of existence. So what do other people do when that happens?
You know that gif from Arrested Development where he like opens the fridge and there's a bag that says dead pigeon and he looks inside of it and he's like, I don't know what I was expecting. Yeah, that's basically like what's happening here.
But do I still dominate this guy, or am I going to have to do this all over again?
So because the issue is that like your power still goes off unless the perils would prevent the power from occurring.
Okay.
So dominate has
Oh, it does have a range for sure.
yeah, no, but it's more about duration.
The duration
yeah,
is till
yeah.
I stop using it.
Yeah, as long as you concentrate on it, basically.
Yep.
So
That's rough,
look,
man.
yeah, look, I'm going to say that you can still have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Androchiron snaps back into existence, he is thinner than normal and emaciated because he lost 5 points of toughness permanently.
So okay, let me check something by the way, because you're using dominate, yep.
Yeah.
So dominate allows you to puppet the person. Effectively, like you gain full control of their body. I don't know if you're wanting to make him talk through something.
All
I
right.
don't know. Yeah. Look, I'll allow, because obviously you've gone through hell literally.
I mean, it would have been
So,
well, no matter
yeah.
what power I would have used, the situation would have turned out the same with him rolling a 100 and I having 7 successes.
So yeah, so like funny weird stuff aside, I'm going to say okay. So effectively, when you've tapped into his mind with this power, what you've sort of gleaned is that like he has effectively compartmentalized his mind at the moment. So because it's obviously like some sort of torturing techniques where effectively, or simply just relieving boredom, but he's turned all of his brain's processing power towards so imagine Nexus Mechanicus, they've got a whole bunch of really complicated algorithms. They're always working at any point in time. They share them into the news sphere. Any admech can download an unsolved algorithm, and if they've got spare CPU cycles in their head, they will just work on solving those
It's
algorithms.
like the SETI screensaver from back in the day.
So he's mining cryptocurrency in his head, basically.
Wow.
But yeah, so effectively, the way he's dealt with incarceration and potentially torture is he's decoupled his cognitive functions to just focus on mathematics. But you're able to dominate him back into you exert your will on him, and he sort of starts to drool a bit. So what do you want him to do?
I'm gonna ask the rest of the crew to come in here now that I got solid control of him, and then I'm gonna order him answer all of their questions.
I love the idea that Dawn just like puts a hand on, like someone opens the door, Dawn shuts it, and it's just like, maybe we wait a little.
Yeah, just a few more seconds just to be sure here.
Androchiron's gonna pull out like an energy bar, and he's gonna start to eat it, and then he's gonna go, water. Does anyone have water? No one offers him water? Okay.
After you, Lord Commodore.
No.
I'm sure
After
Adrian goes to
you.
reach for water and realizes he's got a couple of power fists and can't pick up his canteen.
yeah. I just hand you like a 10-gallon jug that Adrian uses because that's the only thing that fits in his hand.
I can't carry it anymore because my toughness is so low.
Cue the gif of Professor Hulk handling Ant-Man a taco,
So I think before we go in there, What sort of information are we looking for from this man?
Hello? Is
Honestly, I
anyone
can't
coming
remember.
in here? Hello? Is this thing on? Hello?
Like, I'll be real with you guys. I don't remember what we're asking this dude. So-
All right, so this dude is a member of the ship's crew from the Explorator fleet. They showed up, found out that there was a printing device, like a 3D printer, and they were real excited to steal it. And when they found out they couldn't steal it, they were going to jump home and be like, "Hey, they have a 3D printing device. We should go blow them up."
I don't think they ever found out, if I recall correctly. No, I might not call it because I was
You're right. You do recall correctly that he never actually saw the STC device. That the people of Landfall preemptive struck because they figured that if they're here from the Mechanicus, they're going to take away what's rightfully yours.
Yeah.
So we should definitely find out what their purpose of being here is.
Yeah.
Okay, we should do that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean. What is your purpose? Yeah. Jack Sparrow sent me. Pay that. I'm still just like, I go to the door and I get like one of the guards, and I'm just like, "Excuse me, can you check on the lords next door? There's something wrong with the intercom system in here. I need them to step inside."
Yeah.
By the way, what year is it?
When he tells you, you're going to say, "Great, so there's still time."
I say it, but when I do, I turn to look at Adrian through the one-way glass.
The guy Asmodeus is currently sort of like in that sort of semi-seizure state in the chair, like as his mind is being puppeted, like his body is sort of rebelling, but he can't exert his will against Androchiron's.
All right. What I do is I have him start solving a theoretical Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
he sees it with his mind, but it's not actually there, and he just starts solving
it's going to be a big one because like you give him a 3x3 and he's like done like that.
Yeah.
So you start ramping up the number of permutations.
I just don't want a man having a seizure in front of me. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Shall we go in?
Yes.
Dawn releases her hand from the front of the door.
All right, you're now in the room with this guy. His one, human eye is like rolled up, so you see the white of his eye as the sclera was, but it's bloodshot too. There's like a trail of, there's like a weird combination of saliva and machine oil running out of the corner of his mouth.
All right. May I get your name?
Asmodeus Herdal.
And what is your position with the mechanic?
I'm the captain of the Faith in Fact Explorator Fleet KX557 period V.
And what was your purpose coming to this system?
Investigating signals of pre-Imperium technology.
How did you receive signals of the technology?
Specialty auger systems in explorator vessels keyed to this tech.
So will more follow you?
Sorry, get my notes. Make these facts.
The folks at home, the rest of the cast didn't hear any of that.
Didn't they?
That was a 5
gift subs.
5 gift sub from Lord Prettybeard.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Pretty Beer.
So who didn't hear what? Sorry,
The audience continuously heard the siren slam go off. You
okay,
guys
sorry.
did. You guys can't hear the noises.
Just imagine that we understand the language, but the audience doesn't understand the language,
Okay.
and they do.
So what I'm asking to the audience here, what Heredal was
Yes,
saying.
they
but-
should
okay.
have still been able to hear
It
it.
shouldn't have
over
been through
the-
that. Okay. No problem.
Yes, I think
Okay,
so.
cool.
I mean, we'll have to ask the audience, but
This vessel, well, so the faith, in fact, will be contacted. If it cannot be reached, other vessels will come.
are you aware that your presence here is trespassing and a violation of the rogue trader charter handed down by the High Lords of Terra?
The explorative fleet operates in the expanse on the orders of Mars. I was invited to this planet and then detained.
All right, I'm gonna walk over to him and like pat him on the shoulder and do. You're doing great, buddy. You're doing great. Thank you so much.
Is there a way to send a signal to the rest of the explorator fleet saying that there's nothing here?
I'm gonna wipe the spittle off the side of his face real quick. Just kind of.
There are communication systems aboard the Faith, in fact.
And is there a way to turn off the servitors that are on there that are set to kill, or at least turn them off of set to kill?
Yes.
All right, James. I'm gonna.
Perhaps you should be a little bit more specific.
I'm gonna try to seize the command codes from this guy's mind. Several different ones. Whatever it would take to control the servitors, and also whatever it would take to encode a message to make it appear like it was from him, saying "Planet all clear, suffering slight technical failure, will investigate."
Yeah, okay, you can try and pull it together. So the thing is that he has sent along a basic report. So you pull out of his mind that because he has a nospheric link to his own ship.
Yes.
So certain things about his interactions here were automatically recorded and sent out by his ship. So effectively, what he knows is that the colony was previously identified as a site of pre-imperial Terran technology, where it had been discovered there. In the case of like the ship and the older ruins there, that was already on the record. That following the destruction of the planet itself, the colony was left behind to further exploit planetary resources. So therefore, you could assume that there is something of value still here. There's no, with the planet gone, there's no atmosphere to do agriculture. So it must be therefore recovering either tech or mining. The fleet detected signals consistent with pre-imperial technology coming from the region following the destruction of the planet. The colony itself has experienced an obvious recent build-up, which is incongruous with the apparent lack of concern that Pierre Cowles has had for his colonies for the past year. The colony was able to produce advanced technologies, clearly from what he saw when he landed. And that when he first worked with Morn, he noticed that Morn's heart rate was elevated and that he was sweating profusely. And so he therefore assumed that there was something being concealed. So he came to the supposition that the colony has found a way to manufacture pre-imperial technology towards my head. That was last message,
We're back.
Because his ship tried to leave. His ship broke orbit and there was fired upon when it was leaving.
Mm-hmm. So the colony's screwed, right?
It's tough to say, Lord Commodore.
Captain Rodell, if we wanted to speak to someone in your fleet to arrange the sale of whatever technology you suspect is here, who would we talk to?
Major Commodore Nothus Tranich.
Is this person trustworthy?
It's probably under compulsion. That is a really hard question to answer. Like, he trusts him implicitly, but could you trust him? Is probably a different question. If he's being forced to tell the truth, there's no real truth he can give. He'll probably just say I trust him.
Will he bargain fairly?
Once again, fair is a subjective term.
Rather than negotiate, would he eliminate us?
So less what he says and more what you read out of his mind is that. So this explorator fleet effectively believes that they're under divine mandate to collect technology. So if such a device is here, it already belongs to them anyway. So it's a moot point to negotiate. Not that they necessarily want to engage in conflict, because although they've got a large number of vessels, they're not warships, so to speak. So he would certainly look for a way to find an amicable solution, but he would be coming from the bargaining point that there is that if it's what he think, if this is what this guy thinks is, there is no situation where he walks away and says, "Oh well, I guess we didn't get that."
Essentially, they'll come back later with something else to come get it.
Who might we contact on Mars that is the superior of this expedition with negotiating?
The Fabricator General.
Okay. I just turn to the Lord Captain and I say, would you like me to contact the Fabricator General? That's within my power. There might be
sure,
some,
if he answers. I don't
okay,
imagine
James,
he's not.
I immediately drop the dominate and I try to contact the Fabricator General.
So the short answer is not within your power, because you don't have that sort of range. It would have to be routed through several different astropathic relays.
I can contact Terra.
Not
I have that
directly.
range.
Where do you get that from?
I can boost my power to make me go 10 times farther than normal.
Yeah, but still, won't get you Terra.
Okay, I can do it. I can do it up to a different segmentum, I believe.
Yeah,
that's what I need, right? I need a different segmentum.
It doesn't mean it gets you the distance of 10 segmentums, though. It's like it's the whole
10 segmentums.
We
I
are.
thought there was one
edge of the
segmentum
empire,
between like
man.
most places.
No, but
Okay.
what I mean is like the 10 times that doesn't scale in the same way. So you could go like another segmentum will get you from the expanse into the Calixis sector, for example. Yeah,
Okay.
And then there's a lot of space between segmentums as well. So that's where they usually have these relay stations that relay. So the whole thing is that communication from out here to Terra usually takes months to get a response, because it has to go through so many, and usually it suffers from Chinese whispers because it's got to go through like 4 or 5 relay stations. And your message of "I'd like to speak to the Fabricator General" becomes "I'd like to speak to the Fabricator General Purple Monkey Dishwasher."
Now hold on.
Yeah.
I specifically built my character to be able to do something like this.
And you can send this message, no problem, but you cannot establish a one-to-one communication link.
I need the choir, so I can't do it from here.
Yeah.
But if we have at least 10 members of the choir, I can send to a different segmentum without even pushing myself.
Yeah.
It will take 1d5 months for that message to arrive, but
yeah. So look, I said it's not like you can just get him on the phone and hey, you're talking to the Fabricator General.
That's what I wanted to do, though, James. I wanted to just make that happen. At the very least, I want to kick off an attempt to keep this fleet from I don't know. It feels like that would be much better than having these people who will absolutely not negotiate, right? Like, we have no reason to trust them. They have already proven they'll try to kill us. Right? This is their MO out here, is that they just take things from people. We literally just heard a story last episode about how they will never, ever stop trying to get this at any price. That price being bullets rather than dollars.
Yeah, I said war is not the preferred option. But they do have a decent sized fleet. Like, it would just be a case of numbers.
All right. Would you say that I have the range to contact this guy's boss and say, I'd like to speak to your superior?
How about instead of going directly to like the big boss or boss of them, let's try contacting the what's it called? Not the Wraith World, Wraith Worlds, but
Lathe Worlds.
The Lathe Worlds.
Lathe Worlds.
And
negotiate something with them.
But they're not explorators, and they also don't answer to the explorators, nor do the explorators answer to them.
Yes, but we can sell this to them that they can take later. This is, of course, this is also theory.
Well,
Sure.
yeah, like we already have positive relations with
Yeah.
the fabricator General Castellan there,
Because
whatever his name is.
yeah, the main thing is we're not going to be able to keep this thing, so we might as well try to get something out of it. Because even if we contact the boss, we're like, that's mine. Yeah, you can have this small amount, or we'll just go take it from you. Or we could try to get something more from the Lathe Worlds. In which case, they'll probably get it from them, then take it to Mars, whatever, who cares?
Yeah. Well, once it's out of our possession, all we really care about is that it gets used by humanity.
That's a good. Yeah. So I got to say, by the way, that's a great memory. That memory that was High Fabricator Castellan was the name of the one from Lathe World Het.
Well, if we go back to the ship,
Yeah.
I can call him real quick.
Yeah, you met all three of the Lathe Masters,
Yeah.
including Castellan, Jandens, Semic Alpha, and Willem Warren War.
Yeah, Castellan was the one I remember. So.
So yes, let's do that.
What would we like to do with this guy? I already have his ship's command codes.
I'm trying to consider if we should just kill him. Is he under domination still, or is he off of
I
that?
can stop it if you want.
Uh,
I haven't yet.
can we just knock him out at this point?
Let's see here. I think I can't order him to kill himself.
I just
You
want him
pump his body. You
unconscious.
can just make him pick up a knife and shove it in his own throat. You know, it's
No, oh yeah. So sorry. Dominate is the one where I can make him do that.
I believe it does trigger another opposed.
It doesn't.
willpower test.
That's
No?
that's compel.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compel is suicidal.
so
X.
no. Dominate does say any action deemed suicidal forces another opposed willpower test.
Yeah, to try and break the hold.
Okay, I'm not wanting him to kill himself. I just want to knock him unconscious, which I guess any of us could do.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have like an off button?
It can only hold for a maximum number of rounds equal to your psi rating. So yeah, so
Oh,
dominate.
okay.
Yeah, so only actually holds for about 50 seconds.
Yeah.
That's right, but it's fine. He spoke very fast.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I pistol whip him with my cane, and then
Okay,
he's non-conscious. How about that?
Although it's quite tough, so you probably got to whack him 3 or 4 times to knock him out.
Do I just have a different copy?
I'm looking at Dominate on page.
Yes, sir.
one.
I copied it into my spreadsheet, but the spreadsheet's description and what's in the PDF right now are different.
So it's spread out on 2 pages. So you've got the first half of the power on 165, and then the second half of the power on 165.
Yeah.
And then there's Puppet Master further down, which is even more extreme.
Yes, I decided not to take that one. Otherwise, it would be the only thing I did to people. All right. Well, I guess I just let somebody else knock him out. If I knock him out, it'll kill him. Because the only way I know how to knock him out is
or
with the
summon a
force
demon.
staff.
Yeah.
No, I would use the I use the force
okay.
staff, my only weapon
and
of
suck
note.
his soul out. Yeah. Just turn off the Wi-Fi.
I thought about that. I thought about asking if there's an off button on him. Just
Like when
Oh
your printer
man.
doesn't connect to the internet anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Needs a new toner.
His
All right.
eyes just go blank, and it's like searching for signal.
We're all just standing here waiting for someone to do something, and I knock on the door and ask one of the what are police officers called?
In this, probably it's like magistrates. Probably they're not
Not
custodians.
the law.
So not arbiters.
The
Arbiters. Arbiters are responsible for like matters for the Imperium. Individual police just use like
All right, I
magistrates
just told
or
the law
whatever they're called.
enforcement officer to,
Yeah.
keep him in the head until it goes unconscious.
Just make sure, don't kill him. Just make sure he never wakes up. Is that the deal?
Is there just not like an off button on him that we just go shut down system?
I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't find it. I could have just killed him if you wanted me to.
You brought Ivy to the planet. I'm sure Ivy could find some way to render him insensate for
I'm
a period.
not sure that I would want, I don't want them to
Zoolander
talk.
gif of them trying to turn on the computer. by hitting all the apples.
Yeah.
The other thing we need to do is go on that ship and turn everything off on it.
Well, here are the command codes to do exactly that.
So there is like
a
a two-factor. You need like his, but like it requires both like a equivalent of a fingerprint and the codes as well. Like you'd have to take him up to do it as well. It's like there is two-factor authentication.
Just cut his finger off, James.
Yeah, well, as someone who works in biometrics, I can tell you that wouldn't work.
Yeah. It's got to be.
Are you telling me that Doom's a lie to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
The movie's lied to you.
No, we'll do it Avenger style, where Loki gets the guy's eye with the eye pokey staff, and then they transmit the info back to the vault in Dusseldorf. No one remembers this scene. Loki distracts everyone by giving the speech, and the old Jewish German man goes, "There are always men like you," and then Captain America's the Iron Man. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, look, if you as an expert in the field, if you want to overcome a fingerprint scanner, the best thing is a condom filled with warm water. As long as it's still have the lubricant on the outside still as well, though. It's got to be fresh. Because
You just put it there and it reads the skin oils that are already there off of the condom.
What it will do is it will reprint the last print that was on the if the last print was an access, it will trigger an access.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Then, like GoldenEye, you'll have to fake the voice print with an authorization code.
Yeah. And then you hold up the eyeball that you tore out of someone's head.
I'm gonna get that eyeball. I say that looking at Adrian.
Let's just keep the guy intact for now. How about that?
Very well.
All right, I order the police officer to bring the guy with us.
Yeah, no problem. As you're coming out, Morn is like running towards you from the other direction. Lord Commodore, we've just picked up a signal of 6 ships entering this system.
Oh, it seems like our timeline has shrinked a bit. Okay.
Administrator Morn, how long would it take for your people to transfer the STC or the ST constructor onto the Hand of Calixis?
He sort of like turns to he's got like a tech person nearby who's helping him, and they have a quick chat and comes back. 3, maybe 4 months.
Of course.
No. We do that thing that bosses do in movies. We go, you have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, where someone's like, I'm a professional, here's my reasonable estimate, and they're like, I need you to do it in 10.
You only said that because you're a professional.
You only said that because you know what you're doing. I'm telling you how long you really have. Because I'm a boss.
You just need to learn about the triangle, okay? Cost, quality, time.
James, are you telling me about scope of the? Are we doing? Or do we want to just? Do we want to sit down and talk about project management here, James? Or are we
saying, if you want it done in 10 minutes, you got to throw a lot of money at it, or suffer a big quality loss. So that's what he can rip it out in 10 minutes. Will it be a functioning STC anymore? Probably not.
We can get you 4 bolts from pulling it out of the floor. That's what you get.
Yeah. He just goes from using a Phillips head screwdriver using a melter bomb to get it unattached.
Jesus Christ. That's a hell of a twist. I was thinking like a
4 months to 10 minutes is a hell of a change too.
I was thinking like an arc torch, but all right, melt a bomb. Okay.
Can we identify these ships in some way?
Yes. So they are picking up 2 cruisers, a Lathe class cruiser and a Sinford class cruiser, along with what looks like 4 frigate escorts.
Okay.
Not great odds.
No.
What was the second cruiser type? It was a lathe, and then what else?
A Synford, SYNFORD.
Do I have any idea of what sort of combat capabilities that this fleet might present?
Give me a Imperial Navy roll at plus 10.
Do I have that? I don't know if I have that.
I have it,
I have a lot of knowledge rolls, but I don't think that's one of them.
but I don't need to bother.
Okay. Yeah, so they are not ostensibly combat vessels. They are heavy, like they're big because they're cruiser scale, but they're more like heavy haulers or like deep space exploration. Well, the Lathe class is definitely deep space exploration. It's made for like very long times, cut off from supply line.
Right. Well, that's the same cruiser that we have, right? We have a Lathe class.
I believe. So yeah, that was the same. Not the Hand, but the second one.
The
Eternal Praetorian.
Yeah,
the Praetorian. That's right. That's the Lathe class. The Synford is a little bit larger. It's more of a carrier, but it's not like a fighter carrier. More like a something you'd use to deploy exploration digs or like yeah.
The issue we have here is that it's 6 ships to R2 plus I don't know what sort of defenses our place has.
Ground to space support, which has been very significant.
Isn't it space to space because there's no planet?
I mean,
can just Princess
it's an
Leia a couple
asteroid
ships away if you
field,
want.
right? Okay, fine. Call it whatever you want. We have support fire.
I don't know how much support fire that is though, considering.
It's enough to torch a exploratory frigate.
Yeah. That's
well, they have 2
significant.
frigates plus what?
They have four frigates and 2 cruisers.
Okay, still.
I would say our chances in a straight up fight with them are slightly, or even with us on the slightly losing side.
Well, without Nero on the gun, it's not going to operate at the same level of sniper effectiveness. We're probably a lot better now than the last time we fought at boarding other ships, though. We're literally just like, all right, well, we have a living saint and a guy with 6 guns.
So, Pierre, you get hailed by the Hand. They're receiving a Vox communication request from the Synford class ship, which is identifying itself as the Quintus Rex.
Let them know I'll be there momentarily.
Okay. Which, if my Latin doesn't fail me, is the Thorne King.
He's the big guy. I got it. Yeah.
Well, that's what the ship's called, but yeah.
He's the boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll kick them. They'll let them know.
He's telling the fleet right now.
Sure.
They're like, sir, it'll be 6 days before we arrive on planet. He's like, you have 10 minutes.
All right. So your crew will keep them on hold. Playing golf with Geneva.
Yeah.
They play I Spy between the 2 fleets.
And then they just get upset because they start seeing rusty bolts they need to take care of. And this.
No, it'd be for stars, right? It'd be like, I spy with my little eye, flashing blue. And somebody's just like, Pulsar!
Oh, man.
All right, I guess we take a ship up when we get there.
Yeah.
On our way up, I'm going to sit behind Adrian, not in the co-pilot seat, but behind him and just be like, Master Thorne.
Yes, Androchiron?
I just wanted to get a check on our friendship status here. Earlier, we had an encounter which has left me shaken. I wouldn't say I'm the most eloquent person. I deliver messages, I don't write them, mostly, and you seem to regard me as a suspicious individual. I'd like to think I'm an open book. He's currently like munching on a granola bar and alternatively like guzzling water down as if he hasn't eaten in years.
Yeah. Well, Androchiron, we serve the same master. You do your job well.
That's true. The ship.
Sure. Yes, the ship.
I mean, that's who I serve.
I mean, you serve the Lord Commodore, and
He
through
commands
him,
the ship.
yeah, through him you serve the Emperor.
Sure, I agree with
Or
that.
should I say, we serve the Cowles family?
It's the God Emperor, by the way.
Of course.
You know, I've met the man.
Didn't get to see him though. That's
You know, I did get to see him. That's the thing, right?
It's the last thing I ever saw.
Yeah.
I think we are fine.
Okay. I mean, I just feel like we could build a casual work relationship. You know, like, hey, how's it going? Fine nutrient paste that I absorbed yesterday. How was your intake of solid foods?
It's always delicious.
Is it though? Like, he's like choking getting this granola down. All right, that's all I wanted to do for this scene. Just wanted to make it way more awkward.
Yeah. Andrew's like, hey, let's be friends. And Adrian's like, we're co-workers.
Like you go to a work function and you two are the last ones there at the bar, so you strike up a conversation and then it's just awful
Yeah,
for the rest of
exactly.
the time that you work there.
Exactly.
Okay, you're back on the hand. The when you get to the bridge, like the Voxer has still like got his hand over the receiver of the telephone waiting for you.
is the whole button not working again? We really need to get that fixed.
But yeah, but the problem is you got to hold it down. Like you've literally someone's got to hold it the whole time. It's a press to make switch, not a toggle. So.
You really need to switch that out. Oh, hand me the Vox or put it on speaker. I don't care which.
Cool. Yep, a voice comes over the line. Probably there is a slight bit of synthesizer sound of the voice. Probably, you're talking with a tech priest. You must be Commodore Cowles, yes?
Yes, and who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
My name is Majos, tech priest Ulmir Arvain. I actually met your mother several times. I assisted her in a matter. So, given my history with your house, Major Commodore Tranich has asked me to make contact. I think there's been some sort of misunderstanding. Hopefully we can get this sorted out.
Of course, I'd love to get it sorted out as well.
Is there any chance I could come aboard your vessel?
Absolutely, you can. I'll make sure things are prepared for you.
I'll be with you presently.
Excellent.
All right, James, I'm just going to set up to read his mind as the shuttle lands.
Okay, no worries.
His mind is all data. You can't get it.
Not puppet it. I'm just going to read it this time.
Okay.
The bridge crewman replaces the sticky tape over the hold button.
All right. Yeah. Shortly, like a clearly very mechanicus shuttle flies into the bay of the hand. Give me a roll AP as you start scanning it for mines.
Okay, I'm definitely 100% going to do this fettered this time.
You don't want to disappear into the warp
I
again?
will invoke, but I'm
into the time stream.
So my new psi rating is 4, which means my bonus is a 20.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's 7 degrees of success.
Grabs the stream of the warp. Wow, I didn't realize that they put into the
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it
and
auto did that. All right,
Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
see what else I need to do this. Let's see here. I am mind scanning. This is a willpower test. I have enough successes that I can get the number of conscious minds, their location, and their strength, and whether they're psychers, whether they're corrupt, and whether they're insane.
Okay, there are 6 people on the vessel. Yeah, what is my power? I mean, they are of middling power. Okay, so one of the minds one of the people has touched by fate. So let's just say he comes off as more powerful as the rest. You know,
Sure,
he has that
sure.
sort of that certain je ne sais quoi. None of them are actually. So that stronger mind has quite a bit of insanity and a little bit of corruption. We're talking like probably around 20 insanity and less than 5 corruption.
Okay, I'm gonna further mind probe that specific mind.
No worries.
So now I get to do this again. Same deal.
I love that they haven't even like stepped off of their shuttle yet.
And they're already getting probed.
3.
Yeah.
So it takes 5 rounds of sustained effort to get what I'm going to want out of this. So probably
Okay, so
they will be walking off the shuttle by the time I'm done.
So effectively, so the shuttle lands, the ramp comes down, a group of 4 Skitarii walk out along with this tech priest who, even more so than the one you met, has very little in forms of augmentation. Like clearly something in his throat that was venting his voice, but he has 2 fleshy eyes, 2 fleshy hands.
Oh, he was
It looks like
amiable when you were voicing him, so I assume that he was mostly flesh.
Yeah, it looks like more around his torso. He's had some stuff done in the past, so. But he is still dressed in the typical robes of a tech priest.
Yeah, open heart surgery. I get it.
When he gets to the bottom of the ramp, he actually tells the Skitarii to go back into the shuttle and wait for him in there. And they seem reluctant, but they agree and they get back in the shuttle.
Okay, this guy gets to make an opposed willpower test
No worries.
for every round that we fight.
I don't want to colour your interactions, but he is currently walking towards Pierre, ready for a double-handed handshake.
That's
Double
definitely
handshake.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna colors and
Giveaway.
directions.
He's evil.
So
My accountant always does a double-handed handshake.
You're not helping my case, or you're not hurting my case, James. That's all I'm
So-
saying.
Is he a top hand patter or is he a bottom hand like rubber?
No,
Which one is
side, not like that, side.
Oh, jeez.
So,
That's actually the most. That's the politician grip right
yeah,
there.
it's more like your hand goes to grab their hand, and your other hand comes past to get their wrist.
Yeah,
That's sort of like what it's like. Yeah. So.
Yeah. James making the case for me.
gotcha. Okay. So I go out and try to handshake normally, but he's like, I'm like, okay.
And it's a very emphatic shake too. So
Okay.
yes, it's less about the grip strength
Is
and
it
more
like
about
the Trump
action.
pull him towards you sort of?
No. It's not a contest of strength. It's more about getting a lot of up-down movement going on. So
I'm saying if he has a biotic arm, I'm pretty screwed on that front.
no. It's like,
It could be, yeah.
Initiate handshake.exe.
So you got 2.1 degrees on his willpower. So how does
Okay,
that?
I overwhelmed him then for the first round. So I learn his name, mood, insanity level, and state of physical health. Although I'm guessing I already know his sanity level.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And his name is Tech Priest Ulmir Arvane.
Yeah.
He is excited, trepidatiously excited. Would be his mood probably.
All right.
And
You
yeah,
tell
he's
me
a-
when a round has passed so that we make another
Okay.
series of rolls.
Shall we go and sit and talk somewhere?
Yes, I have a room set for us so we can speak privately.
Okay. So
Of course.
you can get through the rest of your rounds of activity in the time it will take you to get to the
All
room,
right.
Arthur.
What's
So,
speed chest then?
Okay.
4.
uh,
All right.
so when he beats you, does that break the connection in, or does that?
Because I passed the test, I don't get to re-roll this too. Wait. Do I get my bonus for the focus test to all of these rolls?
No, only the
Okay,
manifesting
then
roll.
yes, I did it correctly.
Okay.
I mean, you could
so-
spend a fate point to match his, because it would be 5 degrees to 5 degrees.
Yeah, but I need to beat him,
defender
right?
wins. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so
Never
it's
mind.
worthless. All right. I'm just going to quietly.
If they fail the opposed test, the probe is rebuffed. The technique fails, and the cycle has one level of fatigue for every degree of failure. So you take a level of fatigue.
Yeah, I'm gonna quietly speak into the captain's mind again, all fettered. I don't think I have any chance of failing this, and I just say, the man, his mind is burdened by the things he has seen.
Slash done. Definitely slash done.
It cracks. It cracks under the weight of the horrors of the world. And he's very strong. There's something special about his soul that I've only seen in few others. Dawn, yourself, God Emperor.
So he has a fate point.
Really just those three people, essentially. You're muted, but I know you know that I'm intentionally avoiding talking about you.
Yes.
No, I mentioned Adrian as well, because obviously I know that Adrian's special, even if Adrian's like, listen, I have the least connection to anybody here. I could just die and no one would care.
So like, he has no weapons, but he does have one of his mega narrators does have like a laser cutter on it. If he wanted to sort of get aggressive.
Sounds painful. No, I'm good.
I mean, if he wants to get aggressive, I'll flatten him into the bulkhead real quick. Maybe summon a demon in the process.
Just gonna push it to make sure you always just trigger the perils.
Could I trouble you for a drink, Lord Commodore? It's awfully dry on my vessel.
Oh, no problem. Of course. Honestly, I was not certain if you ate or drank, so I
I do enjoy to partake.
So I think at this point, Adrian pulls out the prepared gift bag.
I was going to say, because at this point, he's asking, do you still have your mother's rancor vineyards?
absolutely.
This meme.
always
It's
loved
so
the
good. From episode 1.
Yep.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, I have some prepared for you right here.
Oh, I had hoped, but I didn't want to ask directly. Now, look, as I said, I have worked with your mother in the past. I thought I should probably explain that before we get too much into the details of the situation here. I just wanted to make sure that everything was on the table. You may have heard of a world by the name of Svard. Does that ring a bell with you at all?
Is that SVARD?
Yes.
Sounds familiar.
Hold on. It's not showing up in my notes. I'm sorry, James, I failed you.
Your mother was originally involved in a colony on the world, but she discovered some form of crystalline Xenos entity, something substantial, void ship scale. I
Is this the prequel?
Yes. I helped her to contain the creature inside the gas giant that Svard orbited.
Wow, what a callback.
Shit.
Jesus.
That's why it sounds familiar.
What meme are we going to do next, James? Bring back some more season 1s. What's her name? The battle sister just shows up.
Did we ever pick up? Because she had like a dead drop where she had like a journal of sorts, right?
Yeah, we went
Dead
to.
drop. Yeah.
We did pick that up.
Yeah, but by that time it was all she was completely obsessed with the ship at that point in time. So this is like he's what he's referring to happened years and years ago, like probably 15 years ago. He was involved in helping her to.
So what he's
seal the-
referring to would not be in it. Okay.
No, wait a second, James.
Yeah.
I think we've established that Androchiron is in fact like the last original member of this ship. Now he was just a communications drone at that time, but does he have any recollection of messages that passed through that might be significant to this conversation?
Give me
Anything left in the buffer?
Yeah, give me a logic test, just a straight logic test.
Great. I try to print last logic test. Great. That's a 25 here. So let's just go ahead and get some pogs in the chat. Let's give me some pog champs.
Oh my God!
I want those pogs. I want them. I fucking earned them.
Okay, you do recall, like you said, you were a plebeian at the time, but you do recall some messages being exchanged between the then Astropath on behalf of Pierre Cowles and this guy. Basically, as far as this guy goes, he is a well-established expert on xenotech along with imperial tech, almost to the point of like not just an academic interest, but a you would say he is known as someone who knows more than he should. And so Cowles reached out to him after this crystalline entity began threatening the colony on Svard. And he came along and came up with the idea of luring it into the gas giant and trapping it there with the immense gravitational energies of the gas giant. But he did so in exchange for being able to scrape part off and study it, sort of stuff, So,
all right, James. What's going to happen here is that Androchiron, using his cane, is going to shuffle in and worm tongue to Pierre. This gentleman is not welcome in this. No. He is insane because he has delved too deep into xenotech. He walks the line of heresy, like your mother did. And then I'm gonna go and stand behind him, ominously worm-tonguing the whole time.
Okay. So I imagine that she worked out some sort of deal that whatever you're working with, you got a majority of what it was. So that way she could just take care of it or subdue it for them.
It was a research interest for me. I did reach out to your mother later on regarding this system, Regina 4, but because I had heard stories that some Xeno ruins had been found here as well. I thought might have been somehow related to her inquiries on Svard, but she never returned my subsequent messages. When the Majos Commodore told me he was heading to investigate the Faith in Fact, I thought, I'll offer my services. I am a known friend to the Cowles dynasty, lineage. And maybe at the same time, I could help you with whatever matters might be troubling you on this, on what's left of this planet.
All right, I worm tongue again. I'm just like, he is no friend to your family line. He delved your mother into destruction. I don't do that, but it would be so fun.
There was, in fact, some Xeno ruins that she had discovered, and then I later on investigated with Don here. Unfortunately, at this point, those ruins have now long been destroyed due to strange circumstance. As far as what she found on Vard, what other thing was that she could have possibly found? Or was it just
it was an alien, a creature, size of a void ship.
Oh, okay.
Trapped. Yeah.
Okay. So what I can tell you now, as in you're going to, because you'll find out eventually, I'm sure. Because obviously I can't stop you from doing it as much as I want you to, even though, regardless, there is a, oh shoot, what was the word for it? Oh, what was I'm blanking on the word for it at the moment.
But a standard, you're telling the truth about the standard template constructor.
Yeah, because the guy's going to find out regardless. There's a standard template constructor here.
He definitely does like an obvious like double take. It's a process. He needs a moment to process. There's like a little progress bar loading in his eyes.
Yeah. He'll wait till like the bar is full, and then
2 more insanity points right there.
So there is a standard template constructor here that was discovered sometime within the year that I wasn't able to get back into the Expanse due to the situation with the mall. In which case, this colony was able to develop from it.
Okay. What's next?
I worm tongue in towards Pierre and go,
Yeah.
My lord, you have the exclusive access rights to those thermal rods.
Look, allow me, as a representative of both the Mechanicus and of the Explorator fleet, to help you find the right way to make use of this wonderful discovery. Obviously,
you give it to me.
You obviously have knowledge of Tranich and his methods. I don't want you to worry about that. I'm going to get you sorted out. We're going to get this sorted out. So I guess the first thing that I would like to know from you is, now that we're all here, what would you like out of this set of circumstances? How would you like this all to end? Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you get to the final solution that you're looking for, and everybody goes home happy.
Oh my god. I literally was just talking about on SnowRunner that I never wanted to negotiate against James. And here we are, Pondo. I fucking said it. It was 2 days ago.
You did. That's the problem.
All right. Look, immediate thought, just off the top. We've been gathering ships. What if you go from Commodore to Admiral? All right. Commander of a special task group. All I'm saying is that in exchange for an STC, could they give us a carrier and an escort fleet for it? You know, listen, it doesn't even have to be a super carrier. I'm not looking for a Nimitz. All right. I'll take a nice English carrier and their escort fleet.
Okay. So I have a couple. Yeah. I'm glad I've got a couple ideas. So I have a couple ideas. One of which is that I would care for exclusive selling rights for what the
you want a
ideal
portion
MBS
of the profits from the STC.
Yes, because what they have with it is equipment for essentially starting up colonies. Hence why this colony here was able to develop so well, so fast. I'd like a portion of that in exchange for it. Secondly, if that's not in the cards, because I don't know what Mechanicum does with these things once they have them, obviously research or whatnot. Secondly, is there a way that I can obtain one of those machines that are able to communicate with the archaeotechs?
I like the way you're thinking. So, let me give you some further perspective on a couple of things. So first off, Tranich, my boss, head of the Explorator fleet, he believes he's here not by coincidence, but by providence. He has had, whether through prognostication or seance or some other, the belief that he will discover some great past technology of mankind on a dead world in this expanse. And that is what he seeks. That is why he takes us and our fleet around this expanse every day, looking for the dead world that holds this great discovery. Now, he never considered Regina 4 because it's not a dead world. correct? It was up until recently. It was a very living, vibrant world.
Indeed.
And so, in the early days of the Expanse, when we came through here, not a second thought was given. But I believe that this discovery you made proves whatever fate reading was given to Tranich at some point, and that his life's work is done here today. The resources that Tranich has devoted to this exercise are free agents now. I'm sure there's some way we can turn this to your advantage. Now, when you talk about wanting to recognize a portion of the wealth of this thing, it's like, imagine if you were a child living on the street in a hive in Hive Sibyllus, and someone offered to give you 1% of a billion thrones. Even that 1% is life-changing for that individual. And so, once again, any portion of the value of this is immeasurable. I mean, and it's not like the Explorator fleet has billions upon billions of thrones we can just pay you for it, but value is often read in more ways than simply bars of gold or promissory notes.
Of course.
Listen, with Sigma Male grind set here, passive income. That's all I'm saying. All right.
I would be sufficient with even just a nice, good connections to the Mechanicum.
They're gonna get you a Cat 5 cable.
So look, I'll be honest. Tranich, not always the easiest person to deal with. Did come here with some preconceptions, given that we did know our ship was fired upon. Give me time to smooth out the ruffled edges of this relationship, and then let's all get together and we'll talk through how the Mechanicus can help you, and how you can enrich mankind through what you have.
All right, I worm tongue in again and I go, cannot be trusted, my lord. He's attempting to manage up.
Well, his managing up can lead us to not getting
Yes, of
completely.
course. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Very reasonable.
Currently, he has evidence of us fucking up.
This is your own territory.
Indeed.
Well, you did invite them.
Well, System Administrator Mern invited them.
Essentially, I want to see if I can get away with just maybe having to kill the administrator at the worst.
We like him, though. He did a good
We
job
do like him.
until
He
this
did do a
moment.
good
like
job.
But he also kind of caused problems by
Let's
firing
kill
him
his
on the vessel.
executive officer. Come on, the's got to be a fall guy, right?
Yeah,
He's like a
absolutely.
basketball player. He's surrounded by guys who'll take the fall for him anytime he's in a scandal.
Vice Administrator, NPC that nobody knows is gonna take the fall for him.
He gave the order.
Yeah, he was on
permission.
duty.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, somebody had to lift the lid off the button that says fire.
I didn't know that was a thing in 40K. I figured it'd just be fire buttons.
Oh, there's a whole sacred rite of lifting the plastic cover. It's got its own chant. James, is this a good place to take a break?
I think
I know
it
it's
is.
been
I
a
think it
long
is.
time since we've done this, but it
I know.
actually is break.
I only just realized it was like when it was 5 minutes past the hour. I was like, we should try and get to a break soon.
All right, we're going to take a break. Hopefully, Dave will survive the break. We'll be back. What are you looking at me for? You look like you're ready to just go, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking close, I'm not gonna lie. But I have to keep this baby. I have to do something with her, so yeah.
What do we think? Like maybe 45 minutes in the second half, just go to the hour and all right, that's good because I don't know if I'm going to make it to midnight, even if I meme the whole time.
You've been spoiled for sleep recently, Arthur.
It's only because every single show gets canceled. Spoiled for sleep. Listen, just because I go to sleep at midnight and I wake up in time to have breakfast and enjoy sunlight, does that mean I'm spoiled for sleep?
Have a child, then yes.
Yeah.
I have a cat.
Yes.
I'm good, thanks. All right. We'll be back in the second half in about 8 minutes, which will probably be 10 minutes. There'll be a second. Maybe I'll just make it all one video at this point. And then someone will post in the comments section, where's the second half? Even though it only says episode title with no parts to it. Not that that's happened recently, repeatedly. We don't have to drop it after the show. It's just, you know. All right, we're back for the second half. We've lost Dave, but what we've gained is a better understanding of how food enters our body. No, you didn't like that one? Pretty much everybody here ate before coming back, right? Pondo, did you eat something? Like a snack on the break?
Yeah, trail mix.
Yeah, exactly. He's Androchironing right now.
You're a fucking bird.
Wow,
the only thing I had to snack
James! Holy shit! I didn't know trail mix was gonna set you off, man.
Yeah, my wife said, you know, 'cause I said to her, when you're out, like, can you get me some, like, we have like breakfast bars here, which is just like, you know, like cereal that we have some honey to act as an emulsifier, you know. I said, can you get me some of those? She's like, oh, why don't you eat some trail mix or some nuts? I'm like, I'm not a fucking bird. Nuts okay, but not with trail mix.
Do we eat different trail? I mean, trail mix here has like raisins and peanuts. If you're fancy, you put M&Ms in it, maybe some dried apricots and.
No, I've never seen M&Ms in trail mix here, but I guess.
Well, this is America, sir.
Yeah,
we put
right,
M&Ms in everything.
Let's see, we have to make something unhealthy somehow, right?
Yeah,
I
was
opened
gonna
a
say,
package of Reese's Puffs and M&Ms were embedded into it.
It does defeat the purpose of having trail mix when you start putting candy in there.
Look, candy on a hike. Candy can give you the sugar boost that you might want. It's got wood plants. Great. You know, I've never seen that movie.
Okay,
what were we doing?
So
Memeing?
I was trying to sell you timeshare. So I believe his latest offer was to go back and sort out the hard feelings with the Majos Commodore, so we can all meet together and work out something mutually beneficial.
Yeah, I feel like what he's actually going to do is organize a larger blockade fleet and trade federation us. We're never going to be heard from again, and we're going to have to get a pair of psychers to come investigate.
Yeah, there's two of them.
This is ridiculous.
Two Grey Knights come to investigate.
I mean, listen, the quality of those Grey Knights depends on whether or not they bathe in maiden blood or not. I mean, are they maidenless or are they not?
Did they get the orders from Andy Serkis directly?
I think Adrian will lean over to the Lord Commodore, and then the Rogue Trader can't say that's all well and good that he can smooth things over with his boss, but I think we need to get something solid from him before he leaves.
Is he still here?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's stapling his fingers right now.
Okay. Before you go smooth things over with your boss, essentially, I was wondering if maybe if it'd be okay if I could scrap your ship, essentially, so that way, so we can show your boss the materials that the crafters work, essentially. Because we can use materials from that into the crafter to make things to prove, hey, this works.
Oh, do you mean the faith in facts?
Yes.
Oh, I suppose. I mean, that's not up to me. It's not my vessel. It's is Fradal still alive?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's sort of his call, although Tranek could authorize it too.
Very well.
But I always did pick up there are people alive on the ship though as well. So
Yes.
yeah, in stasis but alive. So this. Yeah.
Yes, and the servitors are set to kill on there as well.
If you need materials, like we've got plenty of materials aboard the Cogitus Rex and the Eternity Bell.
Okay, so I'll be frank. The one thing I want from that ship is the equipment there that lets you communicate with Archaeotech.
Oh, okay. So you asked that before. Then yes, then that's I can't give you mine because I only have one, and I can't authorize you to take it from the Faith in Fact. I can give your tech priests the designs that they need, and you shouldn't have any problem with fabrication, given that you have a universal fabricator at your disposal.
That sounds wonderful, actually.
All right. Well, if you could bring in somebody who speaks Binaric, I'm more than happy to provide the plans via News for Extreme.
Absolutely.
I introduce myself and my entire family history in binary by the time he finishes talking.
Oh, that wasn't what I was expecting, but okay.
All right. So he will relay you these plans in Binaric. With that being said, speaking the language doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to comprehend and cogitate what he explains to you. It's like, it's like assuming that because you speak English as well as speak English, you could fully explain electrical engineering to a child because they also speak English.
I feel like, though, if I had some candy on hand, I could explain it to them in a way they would understand just long enough to pass my test, get that candy, and promptly forget.
Okay, all right.
Because that's how I learned nuclear physics in Boy Scouts. That said, what I am going to do is write it all down.
With that being said, you weren't going to go from Boy Scouts to run a nuclear facility, though, at the same time, which is what
probably
about,
not. They don't allow 11-year-olds to run nuclear facilities. Instead, I'm going to record everything he's saying and pass it along to our actual engineering division.
So yeah, I was gonna say,
let's get Ivy here.
Right as he's finished explaining it to Androchiron, that's when Ivy comes in and he has to explain it all over again.
No, I just hold up the tablet where I've been going 0, 0, 0. It's like a switch. Is 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Look, Androchiron has this.
So the reason you wanted the new spirit link is so that she can also ask questions or verify things as he's going through the explanation. So he probably still ends up doing it again for her as well. But now you have two copies, your copy and her copy.
I'm trying to. All right.
You're trying to what?
Use the unique power of language that I've been given, but sure.
Yeah, that's fine. You can, and you have the access to the same information as well.
I love the idea that the three of us talk in binary, but I'm the idiot who's not on the noosphere. Right, so they're having a whole second conversation while I'm still ape manning my way through understanding what's happening.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Ivy's quite impressed by these designs.
So Adrian leans over again and says, "Is this?" Would you consider this a sufficient down payment, I guess, Lord Commodore?
If it can find us other Archaeotech, then I'd say so.
I just want to make sure that we don't get swindled out of a immeasurable fortune.
Indeed. Don't worry, that's my concern as well. But at least with this, we have something that we can find something else for our own and then sell it from there. Because I actually know a little bit about Archaeotech. Haven't been able to use it. It was a hobby in college, but...
Unbelievable.
was it like a credit subject? So you pick up extra course credits,
like a non-core
elective.
class.
Yeah, elective. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
that I got a minor in because I was bored.
All right. Well, he will leave then to go and deal the deal with Tranich. So, are there any conversations you guys need to have without the tech priest around?
Let's set in motion to release the crew that we have on the planet, so that way they can get on the ship and then assess what they have.
It's our guy.
Oh,
They killed his minders and captured him.
yeah. See if we can help alleviate the situation as much as we possibly can.
And then I think, Lord Commodore, we should have the STC be cranking out as much as possible in the meantime.
Absolutely. Let's start with trying out these heat rods or whatever it is that we had from our planet.
The thermal rods. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, no worries. It'll probably take like a day to reconfigure the STC to start producing that thing, but that's fine.
Oh, all right.
And then might I suggest coming up with a blueprint of new colony machines that we can package together and either use ourselves or sell to other interests in the Expanse.
Actually, I have a request.
Yes.
I was wondering if we might get a STC scan of Faust Cromwell's astropathic cybernetics so that I might get a new set of eyes.
We can attempt that. I'm sure he also just has whatever he... I figured that he would know what he needs, or he could just tell us what exact cyberware that he got. I don't know.
Yes, but I mean, we could just print it while we're here. I've decided that maybe I should have eyes,
I suppose. Okay. If that is what you wish.
I just think it could be helpful in my interacting with people. I've had some awkward conversations over the last few weeks.
Because you're blind?
That's because I don't see things the same way as other people.
Fair enough.
You do know, by the way, that there will be some astropaths that will look down on you for getting eye replacement, because there are some sort of purists who believe that the loss of vision is, the sign of your faith about the Emperor.
That's true. I'm a Strength 7 astropath. I can slam them through several walls.
Look, plenty of astropaths still do it. I'm just saying it's a social. There is a social class with astropaths that don't like it.
I feel like it would be like if someone came up, like a space marine, was like, "Oh, hey, Primarch, let me explain to you something," and Primarch was just like, "Okay, sit down, son."
I mean, they'll probably just passive aggressive you. It's like, "Oh, you got your eyes replaced, did you? Well, I guess somebody had to."
It's okay, James. Most of those astropaths are locked torturously as mind slaves for all eternity.
And the choir.
But now that it seems like I might have a few precious moments of freedom left, I would like some eyes.
Okay. All right, so you guys go about the duties of setting up this thing to produce thermal rods / cybernetic eyes.
Yep.
Thermal rod. Are we really making thermal rods instead of colony equipment or guns?
At
We
least,
don't even know what they do. They just heat things in a line.
Yeah, why wouldn't we do it?
No, it's not even in a line. It's just they themselves heat up.
Oh my god! They probably
But we-
juggle
but-
them. You know what I mean?
but
We like
we don't know
juggle
that.
the rods.
So look, we got this nice cool thing that's super rare, super valuable. We don't know why it's valuable, but it is. We're going to have to waste a day to set it up, to make a pair, and be like, this is useless.
We've got to do a test run to determine that they're pointless.
Then Ivy's going to take them and try it on her hair because she's bored. Be like, oh, this is nice. But at that point, we've already lost it.
Yeah, and then we'll get back to making the colony equipment.
Yeah.
All right, sounds like we've got a plan. All right. I was like, fast forward to the scene the next day where it's like the three of you plus Ivy at a table, and in the middle of the table is this like small, metal and plastic rod with the button on the side, and like Ivy picks up and turns it on, and there's no sound or anything. It's just like
right.
She reports that it's now 60 degrees Celsius or whatever, or whatever that would be in Kelvin. I'm sure she'd relate in Kelvin.
Yeah.
So that seems to be its peak operating temperature.
So is this like some sort of torture device?
It wouldn't cause significant injury.
I'm confused what this could be used for. Is it for
Perhaps it's part of something larger.
It's like some sort of heating.
Is it a primitive prototype of a stun stick that one might use to beat down dissidents?
It seems to have no discharge. It has capacitance, but it discharges over time when no longer connected to power.
Could it be altered to allow that discharge?
All right. She looks at you like, we've just found this sacred technology, and now you want to alter it. People thousands of years ago, much better than us, designed this for a purpose, and its purpose is divine. It is perfect.
Well,
perhaps she'll get a group of her texts onto researching what it could be used for.
Yeah,
at least you've got one now to work with.
Adrian goes, surely the Mechanicus will be able to figure out what its true purpose is.
Yes. Let's just get back to making the colony equipment. How about that?
And Ivy comes to you, Androchiron, because as you after, I produced a set of 3 best quality cybernetic eyes.
Sorry, a set of 3?
Well, it's always good to have a spare, and today was not a good day for the use of even numbers.
Has Adrian ever talked to her about numerology?
Probably not, no.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
He's just going to look confused. He's going to do his best, like, Tuvok from Voyager. Like,
that's it. And she's obviously quite uncomfortable around Karin as well. Not obviously. I'm not hugely uncomfortable with this, but she's not quite the same sort of bubbly personality she's around Karin.
Have I done something to you, Ivy? I appear to have upset many of my work colleagues.
No. It's fine. It's just it's fine. It's all good.
It seems like it's not fine.
Let me know when you would like these installed. I can get the doctor's help to fit you with these devices.
Immediately after this conversation.
All right.
We're work colleagues. You're a superior officer on this ship. Is there something you'd like to share with me? I'm good at keeping secrets. I've kept decades of secrets for people. What is it about me that concerns you, that makes you not want to talk to me?
It's just we're not compatible. Like our connection strength is actually in the lower grades. Since your promotion, I mean, But before that, it was fine. But
My promotion to
Master of Choir.
I don't think I am that. I think that
Well,
Cromwell Frost is that.
No.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
For whatever you were, whatever you are now, yeah.
He doesn't have a rank on the ship. I've
Yeah,
studiously avoided giving him any duties, which is why
whatever title change it had to endure in order to. Effectively, she includes title in name for the purpose of numerology, and whatever title change you've had has pushed your compatibility percentage down below her minimum threshold.
let's sit down for a moment.
It's nothing personal. It's just it's.
Let me tell you a story. The machine cult, you believe, right? You have belief, correct?
Yes, of course.
And you believe in the Omnisaya, who has an aspect, who is what we would call the God Emperor, correct?
Some say the other way around, but yes, definitely they are.
But that's what you
aspects of the same
believe.
thing.
You believe
Yes.
that, yes. I've met the God Emperor, you know. And not in the way that maybe you have through like spiritual connection or belief. I've actually physically met him.
I do understand how astropaths function. Yes.
I would say, Ivy, that whatever numerology that you're using, perhaps account that I was lucky enough to be chosen and to have survived, because that is a 1 in 1,000 of 1 in 1,000 chance. And then I survived numerous, once in a decade, disasters aboard this ship.
I think that you might be misconstruing my point. I have no problem with you. Your numbers are fantastic. You are an individual.
You're saying it's not me, it's you.
I'm saying it's purely our connection. This is not the right time for us for working together, because it can only lead to poor things. It's a shame that Nero is still here, because you and he, the numerical connection would have been incredible.
I don't know about that. What I know of Armsman Nero was his subpar leadership skills and excellent shooting skills. I guess there was a bit of time towards the end where he seemed like messages echoing were very important, but that is just but a fraction of what I have seen. Ivy, if someone else needs to perform this procedure in order to calm your nerves, I'll simply ask Dawn to help do it.
I mean, she's not equipped to handle this. I mean, the doctor will do the procedure. I'll just be administering the cybernetics. I need to ensure adequate connection to your neural systems. Right, to your
I'm sorry that fate has brought us this way, that I am so cursed to be among people and yet without friends. And then as he walks away, the sad song from Scrubs plays, you know, like da 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 da.
All right. So I want you to just know that after this scene, there's a non-PC scene where we see Ivy in her chambers, furiously writing away at a bit of paper with the data next to her, like trying to calculate how she could possibly alter her name in such a way that would bring her to a stronger numerological connection with Androchiron, without at the same time depreciating her connection with any of the other senior crew. And it's just not working for her. Like there's like crumpled bits of paper all over the floor in her chamber, and she like works into the night trying to work out how to do this.
All right, James, I have a scene for you.
Okay.
Androchiron hits the summon captain button in the antechamber, which he's never done before. It makes the Among Us beep.
Yep.
Is this an emergency meeting?
No, it's just for the captain. It's the second
so I
button.
see, I
It's a
see.
smaller
Okay.
button.
I see. Underneath yeah, gotcha.
It
But you see-
requires two
but
keys, and you have to flip a plastic
No,
cover.
I'll say that the mistake here was they installed the toggle here. So they installed the push to make here and not the toggle, so that once you push it, he's constantly summoned until someone comes and resets the button.
And he's the only one with the key to do that.
All right, so Pierre, you are summoned.
You're muted.
I go to it, confused why I'm being summoned.
All right. I slowly take my blindfold off to show my new cybernetic eyes. And I say, Captain, as you may know, on this ship, I am not an officer, and you have no need for an officer, but I'd like to talk about a pay raise and maybe a title increase. You know, I was thinking I would move from like a G3 to like a G8 to 9 status.
Okay. How about I create a position
Yes.
called, I don't know, maybe,
Captain's counselor.
sure. And if you don't like that, we can change it later.
That's wise. I feel like getting the title perfectly correct may be important to my future.
Okay.
It's a numerological thing, sir. I appreciate your willingness to work with me. I'll stop bothering you now.
Okay. As far as the pay raise,
You don't currently pay me anything, so
Oh,
anything
okay.
would be a pay raise.
I suppose you can get up to the senior staff level.
That's far too much for a slithering worm like me.
Okay, well, I can put you maybe under the.
Like maybe a petty officer level, or...
Sure, how about that? If that's.
Incredible, sir. That's more money than I've literally ever seen. You know, I grew up on the hive streets of Scintilla. Incredibly poor.
Of course.
Yeah. It is nice being able to walk past those filthy rats on board this ship. Well, I'm referring to the fact that Androchiron can now see without psychic powers, so he can navigate the corridors that the blanks are located in.
Ah, I see.
He's not just going to be like walking down the ship and suddenly be like, oh, what's happening?
Run into a wall.
All right. I sent a message to Ivy with my new title of Captain's Counselor. And then I just go grab a nutrient pack and hook it up to my intravenous line. You're muted, Spoon.
You just hang it up on your IV bag carrier.
Yeah. Still carting that thing around. I'm trying to make Androchiron as pathetic as possible.
It's working.
He's a sorrowful character who suffers.
And
Listen, James has already assured his death, so I just
Yeah.
sort of make the death as like meaningless as possible. Like, he has no friends despite constantly attempting it. I just want Ivy to come back and be like, our connection is so much worse now.
Yeah, it's stronger but bad.
In the wrong direction.
Yeah.
All right, James, do we have any final scenes here?
Look, I think that because the next thing I want to do is the response from the Mechanicus from the Exploder Fleet, but maybe we'll leave that to next time because that might be a bigger that could be kind of a long conversation.
In the words of Eminem, next time there won't be no next time. Let's do outros. Spoon, what do you got?
I am Big Spoon. You can find me on Twitter at BigSpoon223 or over on Arthur's Discord. I'm here on Saturday nights. And then whenever the season 2 finale of Solaris Knights rolls around, I'll be on that. Yeah, it's good. It's good to get back into this. It was a fun session. So looking forward to the final run of this crew.
It's an interesting game to run because most GMs have the thing where you're trying to keep the players on track and they're trying to go off in every single other direction. Mm-hmm. And this is a game where the players are trying to keep on track and the plot is trying to constantly distract them with other things to go and do.
Yeah, and like that's kind of where Adrian's at with this STC, where he's like, look, man, like it's worth a lot, but like let's just get what we can and then like continue.
The realm
on.
of Slaanesh offers you 50,000 if you will just turn away the Dark Prince's consort. Oh, listen, if you're a Warhammer 3 player, you'll get that eventually. You'll get that.
So, but yeah, that's me.
All right. Pondo, did we do you yet? No, I think we started with Spoon. Okay.
No, you do not. I am Pondo the Man. You can check my channels at YouTube or Twitch, just Pondo the Man, where hopefully now that things calm down, I'm going to start working on stuff. Mainly going to be hobby stuff, but yep, I'm here Saturday nights. You can find me on the SnowRunner Fridays, I think is when they go up, or is it
yeah, it goes Friday.
Okay. Yeah, Friday. And then I think we're starting
Warhammer 3.
Warhammer 3 next Thursday, or is it following Thursday?
Next Thursday.
Yeah. So I'm going to try the Ogre Maw tribes. I don't know how it's going to work.
I saw.
Are you going to be the guy that gets pushed around in a wheelbarrow?
Greasius.
Yeah. I was thinking really hard with that one because it's either the Slaughterer or Greasius, who is just a fat guy who sits in a chair and chews on a big.
I saw a video the other day of it was a 19 stack Lead Belcher army with Greasius as the Lord, because he's got like this ability or something, and it was just a kind of a meme. It was a meme video of them just like devastating every other army that they face by just shooting them.
There's a lot of those memes, yeah. Probably just bumps up like the amount of ammo.
Yeah, I think it was rate of fire and amount of ammo, I think, were the two things that increased. So
yeah, from what I've ever seen, it's like in Warhammer, if you have a gun army, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Empire, where it's kind of meh.
It wasn't that we established last week was the whole Kislev thing? Was it's all just gun swords and gun axes and that sort of stuff? You know?
Yep.
No, I mean I do want to try out. Like I would. Warhammer 3 is great. I would just love to have like the Mortal Empire thing where you can play any race in the campaign or in the multiplayer.
Once it gets the Mortal Empires, which I'm pretty sure they've said is coming, it's going to be the best Warhammer Total War game there is, and possibly best Total War game there is. Like, yeah.
I mean, the Warhammer series is pretty high up there as well. It kind of does its own thing, obviously, because it's not anything like their historical type stuff.
Yeah.
Did I tell you, Pondo, about the rumors that they're working on a Warhammer 40K Total War?
Yeah, I think you talked about that a couple weeks ago, and I don't know how that will work out too well.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like a full-on thing like the Warhammer series, or is it going to be like a saga deal?
I don't know. All I know is that the two rumors were that what's his name who wrote Eisenhorn, Dan
Abnett.
Dan Abnett, yeah, announced he was working on a new game project that he couldn't speak about, and that Creative Assembly just hired a whole bunch of former 40K artists from GW. So
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be curious how that turns out, because the amount of like firepower is a little bit extreme from what the Total War games really showed.
yeah,
I mean, yeah. So
I think the most like firearms has probably been either the Warhammer series or Napoleon.
yeah. I was gonna say that the Empire, Total War Empire, was pretty successful.
that's right. Though with
as far
bolts
as
having a
using-
range of 24 inches in the war game, though they've got less range than a pistol in reality. So
Yeah.
anyway, about armies shooting each other from across the battlefield.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I imagine that a 40K Total War would be very similar to what how Kislev plays in Warhammer 3, is that you would have a lot of multi-role units where they have a ranged attack and melee.
Mm-hmm. They have to remember to switch in between whenever they go into melee.
When they
Yep.
do Immortal Empires, the actual Empire is going to rule Kislev so hard.
Probably.
They're going to show up with heavy melee infantry and just with shields and destroy them.
Well, I mean,
Steam tank.
yeah, Steam.
Oh
Steam
my!
Tank
You know,
is-
I love that
Oh,
steam tank, the Emperor's Wrath.
Elemental Bear, baby. Like, I mean,
The
you know, you
Elemental
got-
Bear is not as good as the steam tank.
Yeah. Well, that's because the Steam Tank is the Doomstack unit. Like,
It's good, but it's not as good.
but I think the advantage an Empire player has is in resource base, right?
Ooh,
They just
someone
start-
hasn't gotten to that Kislev cash money when you're like Oblast? Sick. I have 10 trading partners, dude. It's fucking insane. I'm like I got like 5 different province capitals that are rocking allied outposts.
Mhm.
So they're never gonna get taken. It takes 220 stacks to take a province capital if you've got a good outpost and a solid level 3 plus wall.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Immortal Empire is gonna be fucking crazy.
It's gonna be wild.
Yep. All right, where were we in outros? Is everyone gone?
Pondo's gone.
Pondo.
It's Spoon and Pondo
No,
started.
Spoon went first. It's you,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jay.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's me. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm Grim Dark James. You can find me back here next week. So I'll definitely will be around on the 5th and the 12th. The 19th I'll probably be flying to the US. And then the 26th I will be in the US, probably somewhere near Spoon at that point in time. So
Bringing him the SSD, right?
yeah, that's right. Got it. I can't pick up right now. There's a tower.
Are you actually gonna bring me an SSD?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, there's a tower commanding it right now, but it's
Oh my god.
right there. Here you go. See?
Look, he just wants
Oh
to
my
make sure
God.
that when we play something rotten in Kislev, we don't spend half our time loading the battlefield.
Actually,
He's really doing it for himself.
It's a bigger one. There we go.
Oh man. All right.
What else you
so
got, James?
I will have a video up shortly. Part 5 of my Space Wolf Crusade stuff. I've gotten 3 new units painted that I'm talking about in the latest video, and I have just kicked off a new project on some bigger stuff as well. So I'm painting out some tanks, and I've been able to actually convert a Land Raider to look a lot more Space Wolfy as well. So otherwise, yeah, I'm just around Arthur's Discord. Probably going to be pretty much a social pariah there for a bit though, because I'm tied up with work, and also the Eldar book comes out next week for 40K, and I've already managed to find if you okay. So here's my advice: if you play 40K and you like to read the codexes, but you can't wait for them to be released, there is a YouTube channel called Sprues and Brews. They do battle reports and talking about 40K stuff, and they do reviews. And when they review the codex, they pretty much open the page to the book and go through the pages one by one, talking about it in 4K. So you can basically like freeze the picture, read the whole book page at a time a week before it comes out. So last night I read the whole Eldar Codex, which comes out next week. So I'm now getting ready to plan out my complete redo of my Eldar army. That's my next.
I wonder
big
how many
project.
people. I wonder how many people went frame by frame to take pictures of it to put it together in like a PDF.
I don't know, but it's allowed apparently that they've been doing it. They've done it for like the last 6 or 7 codexes and never been pulled up by GW, and they still get the review copies. So, yeah, and I still buy the books. You know, I don't not buy the books because of what they do. So, but yeah, so that's that. With the Space Wolves, I worked out. I literally, I've done this. You know, so Stead. I'm doing this Land Raider and Storm Wolf, and I worked out I was 1 troop unit away from a battalion. So for a full battalion, so I'll just do 1 more troop unit, and then I'm calling the Space Wolves done, and I will then fully refocus on a new project. I've been talking about doing Sisters for a while, but no, when the Eldar were announced, I really didn't want to do Ulthway again because I did Ulthway last time, and I'm so sick of painting black models. And unfortunately, Ulthway clearly have like the best stats as well, but I've decided to do Bieltan instead. So white and green models this time. Is my wife traveling with me to the US? No, she is staying behind with my children. So it's just for work. I wouldn't take my wife to Vegas.
That sounds bad when you say it like that.
My wife is afraid of the US.
That's fair.
It's
a really reasonable response.
yeah. Completely understand.
Measured and well tempered.
Yeah, as a person who works in healthcare and had lived through me, you know, being on the receiving end of a gunshot. She's panicked about those sort of things in the US. So yeah,
that's fair. That's especially Vegas.
Especially because I'll be taking a bunch of Australian customers to shoot machine guns for sure. They always love that sort of stuff in Vegas.
Yeah.
I forgot. There's like take you out in the middle of nowhere where there's a big old ditch with a bunch of cars and stuff. Yeah,
you can find anything in Vegas, man.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I've never done it, but there's a group that always goes and just like, here's a day we just throw grenades.
Jesus.
I don't think I want
anybody that I know to be throwing grenades with me. Like, I don't want to be throwing grenades.
You just have to find out which of your friends is the one that would forget to throw the grenade and throw the pin instead.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, look, those grenade throwing instructors, they're trained really, really well because they don't want to die.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's funny here is like I've been to plenty of things in the US where I've had to sign like a waiver before doing it. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that so in Australia you have the same things. If you want to go skydiving, you got to sign a waiver to say that, you know, you recognize this is a dangerous sport. But the law in Australia says you can't actually sign away your own rights. So although you sign it, it has no legal bearing in Australia like it does, you know, in the US. You cannot sign away liability even if you choose to do something dangerous.
That's fine. And I mean, in the US, EULAs aren't really that binding either.
Yeah, I was gonna say most time in the US those wouldn't stand up in court anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, that's why my wife doesn't come to the US with me. She would much rather go to Europe. She likes castles and, you know, and older sort of stuff, you know.
We have castles. We took them stone by stone from Scotland
I didn't
put them on top of a New York City building.
I didn't say she likes
okay, Xanatos.
Wait. I didn't say she likes castles. She likes castles. Okay, so yeah, you can keep your castles, all right, and we'll go to Europe and see castles.
Jesus, I have no idea what James just said. Can someone European explain it to me? What I just admit?
I was just picking on you on the accent.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. So I forgot when I'm speaking European, I have to pronounce the U in flavor and honor, and have to add an extra E at the end of it.
Yep.
Someone came at me because I pronounced Jaguar instead of Jaguar, and I'm just like, look, man, just give me Jaguar.
Aluminium.
But at least you spell aluminum differently to how we spell aluminium. So there is a difference in how it's written too.
It's all bauxite to me, bro.
Yeah. So okay, let me ask. This question got asked me the other day. Do you say Porsche or Porsche for the car?
Depends on who I'm talking to.
Yeah, I do. I'd say both.
Yeah, I mean in German it's Porsche.
So how European is the person's accent I'm about to talk to? If they aren't at least transatlantic, it's Porsche.
I'm just going to say Porsche. I don't care what they think. I'm not going to correct them what they call stuff. I don't want them to correct me.
Fancy a game of Gwent?
Hey, it was still one of the best revelations I had was working out how to actually order water on planes in America was by pronouncing it with a hard T.
Water.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, you could just add an R in between the A and the A and T, and they'd probably understand there.
Yeah, and you putting in the R as well. So yeah, like,
Yeah. Or you go.
It's true. We goddamn Americans and our hard consonants.
Yeah. When I was asking for water, they're like, I don't know what the fuck you're asking for.
Yeah. Or you go full like New England, New Jersey area, and you go worder, like a glass of water.
I'm gonna wash in the creek real quick. You got anything else, James?
No, I think I've wasted enough time.
I am AP Gaming Real. You can find me. I'm a YouTube artist who once a week streams on Twitch instead of YouTube for reasons
Don't say yourself short. You're a YouTube sensation.
In what meaning of the word sensation? Like when you hear me talking, you're like, "Ooh, I feel that." In the words of Elden Ring, you have no bitch. Is the thing people would say about me. But if you wanted to learn more, consider typing !Discord on Twitch and join the Discord where you will learn nothing additional and be subjected to terrible memeing. Yep,
Thanks,
like
Brian.
that. You could do that. Look, here's the thing about Spoon. I see this guy posting one of those buy views on Twitch things, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go over and click on it. And I was about to ban him, and it was like, would you like to unban this person? I was like, what the fuck? Unban? I didn't ban him in the first place. And I had to look in the moderation log, and it said Spoon got there first, and I'm not used to anyone moderating my chat. I was confused, flabbergasted.
Yeah. He's not the hero we deserve. He's the hero we need.
We don't deserve Spoon. So take this punishment from us. You like that one?
I was like, oh, that's very nice of you. I was going to say something, and then immediately crushed.
The only thing I want to say, by the way, that happened to me this week is that, so I mentioned before I have an autistic child, and he had some emotion control issues recently, and we took him to be psychologist.
The story.
And she said, she gave him this tool to use where she told him to say, if he gets too emotional, or if people try to talk to him and he feels too emotional, he can say, sorry, my cup is full. My emotion cup is full. Can you give me a few minutes? So that's what he has to say. But I got to him straight after the actual appointment, and I've convinced him instead to say, my cup runneth over. So my son is now walking around telling my wife, my cup runneth over, mummy.
My cup runneth over.
Amazing.
Love it.
Look, there was an intricate tweet plan that I had where I was going to use TwitLonger to be like, here's the real truth about my experience with Big Spoon. It's the thing that everybody does when they're about to name and shame somebody. But then I thought, that's really mocking the victims of that rather than, but I wanted to do it so badly because I'm a filthy memer. Just know I would do it in an instant if I didn't think it would hurt someone.
Look, Arthur's memoirs are coming one day. They'll be out there, and we'll all be pulled through the ringer of Arthur's recollection.
Mm-hmm.
Of what?
Of your life, your memoirs.
I'm
Whatever.
Jesus at this point. I think that in a few years, I'm just gonna be like, what did I have for breakfast yesterday? What is the United States?
Where am I again?
Where am I? What year is it? Tell me. There's still time.
There's still time.
That's it.
Oh, man.
We'll be back next week, or we won't. I never know. It's a crapshoot. Well, there'll be some stream at this time and place, though. Maybe it could happen.
But what